I did it! I unmuted! I can hear you, and you can hear me, and everyone can hear us.
Can everyone hear this?
Grip it and rip it!
Kind of ruined that. My hand were in the wrong place, so it just made like a fat sound when I opened it.
It was a little quiet, but that's okay. It was still there. We still heard it. It did do a little fart. Here, let me help you. Grip it and rip it.
Better technique there.
Mine just kind of exploded a little bit. It's fine. You can't see. It's all pale. It's fine.
It was just bad technique all the way down.
Maybe we just did it bad everywhere. Maybe it was just a bad day for sodas.
Maybe we're just bad at soda.
Maybe? Look, I'd believe it. I'm bad at a lot of things. Hey, I heard you like bad girls. Because I'm bad at everything.
Oh, jeez.
It's fine. Everything is great. I am bad at video games, but I am free. Which is awesome, because we're gonna do more Dino Crisis. Which I'm not particularly good at, but I do really like.
Playing janky old PS1 games. if you can do these, you got modern games down. It's easy.
Maybe, in theory, potentially. I think I've proven that incorrect a few times, but you know what? We have a good time with it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, we do.
No, I am genuinely excited to do more Dino Crisis. Like, I've been thinking about it all day, and most of last night, too. I still haven't slept much. Hi.
Oh.
It was so hot! It was so hot last night! I could barely sleep with a sheet over me, let alone a blanket. It was horrible.
You just stick one leg out and then it's fine. Don't worry about it.
No, I can't do it. I can't do it, and it's not even because of the demons. I just can't do it. No, it was horrible. I, had my fan pointed directly at me. Less than, 2 feet away from me all night, and it was still too hot. It is a little better today, but it is still fairly humid. It is still soup. We got the soup air, but that's fine, because then it means it's thick enough that you can punch it. I'm so jealous. It was just too hot. It was just too hot here, because I think our AC, froze up in the middle of the night. The system just said, oh, nope, it's the difference between the temperature in the house and the temperature you're trying to set us to is too much! And it freaked out and turned off. It was horrible.
That's
so, you know.
The opposite of what would be helpful.
Right?
I like this.
Because the condenser freaks out, and there's too much water on me, and it's like, okay, but I am covered in sweat and had to take 3 cold showers last night so I didn't die. Come on. So I'm incredibly tired still today, so my brain's not fully functional, but I'm still incredibly excited about Dino Crisis. So that's great. That's a good thing. Yeah. I'm just gonna whine about the weather all of the time, forever now.
Use the anger to defeat the dinosaurs.
There's more fear for the dinosaurs than anything. I wish I could do that. No, it's too hot here. It's so humid and it's so bad. It's not great. But I'm glad y'all are able to stay cool. I wish I could.
Tips for staying cool. Move to a different country where it's never warm.
Genuinely considering. Party Boy 69!
Oh, no.
First off, nice. But also welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Anyway, dinosaurs. It's Dinosaur Day. I'm excited for Dinosaur Day. I think. Oh, hey. Oh, okay, there it goes. I was like, game capture. Do you want to capture the game, maybe?
I couldn't see it.
Excuse. Well, you see it now?
I'll narrate what's happening to everyone
Okay,
else.
okay, good. We'll just get a play-by-play, a verbal play-by-play of everything that's happening. We literally just discussed this and I've already forgotten. We're trying to find where to go for our ID card. We have the ID card, we have the ID machine. We need the room in which we can use those. Also looking for...
You're hoping to wander into the red
Yeah.
supply thingy.
Yeah, because ammo would be lovely. We would love to have some ammo.
One hurt.
It definitely would not. Do you think the room that we're looking for is south of that main room with the stairs? It's between the weird hallway and the outside? Is that the room?
That just leads upstairs, right?
The room with the stairs, yes. But south of that, there's...
Okay, the other room with stairs. Oh.
No.
Okay. I don't know.
The room between both of the areas with stairs. There's a rectangular room with that hallway. This is terrible. I hate this map. I wish
Semi-recently, right? They could be that.
I think so. I don't remember.
We know it's not upstairs. Upstairs sucks. We know it's not
Upstairs-
outside because the cliff's fallen down.
Outside also sucks.
Yeah, but also we can't go. The cliff,
It's
the
true.
floor is gone.
Yeah, Floor did say goodbye. How can we get there? We can go through other save rooms, so we have to go upstairs. But not upstairs. We have to go to the first floor.
Watch out for the chickens.
We got the dumb chickens over here. Get out of here, chickens. Oh, I'm already scared. Please.
It's fine, they're just chickens.
It's not the chickens that I'm worried about. Chickens are chumps. Chump chickens. Oh no. I think I've gone the wrong way.
This is fine.
No. No. I didn't mean to. I needed to.
Simply go past the dinosaur again.
I gotta go the other way. I went the complete wrong way.
Joey might be right outside.
I know. It's gonna be horrible. No, I've run into him. Nope, we're fine.
Okay.
No. Oh, he's thinking about getting me. Oh, he was thinking about getting me.
He thought about it.
I don't like it when he thinks about it. This is fine. These dinosaurs ain't shit. They can't catch me. I'm a bad bitch. You can't kill me. Get out of here, chickens. This is where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to these stairs so we could go upstairs so I could go to the main room. Music?
Oh no.
Also, how much garbage
That's
do I
not
have?
what it's want.
It's not, and I don't like it, but you know. It's fine, I'm sure. I'm not worried. Okay, we still have space in our...
Oh, did we not use the L disc?
No, because we don't have the other L disc.
Ah, okay.
And I
thought we
also...
had both, we just didn't found the door.
No... Oh, we do!
We just haven't found the door. We gotta
Yeah.
find L.
And we also have to find the input disc for E. We need to figure out where L is. I don't think we've come across...
I don't think so. I think I was writing down when we found one.
You were doing very good. I loved your notes. They were very
Perfect.
good notes.
Did forget to save my notes.
Oh no! It's fine, you sent them to me! Well, you sent a
Yeah, I did.
screenshot of them. That's
Fine.
That's better than nothing.
I can see him. It's fine. We didn't find the door, or I forgot to write it down.
Oh, Fruity's Fruity quiet? And volume?
Am I quiet again? Oh no, I could
I can
change
turn-
my settings if it's bad.
I can turn you up. Hold on a second.
There's the
Yeah.
thing that sometimes happens that I could try and fix.
Hang on. No, I got some wiggle room for you. Is Fruity better now? You gotta say things, Fruity.
Is it better now?
Oh my god, that's incredibly loud.
It was doing the thing again. I told you
no.
not to worry about it.
I told you not to worry about it.
Hey, my volume sometimes just decides not to use the settings and instead to go as quiet as it possibly can. And I have to change the settings and then change them back to exactly what they were before, and then it updates it.
Well, there we go. Good, good. I'm glad Fruity is sounding better now. It's always very hard to tell the difference between how anyone or anything will sound on stream versus how they sound in my headphones. So you sounded fine to me, but we need you to be heard by everyone. Oh god. This is fine. It's got dinosaurs hissing at us. But it's fine. You're not Fruity quiet anymore.
Get the arms torn off by raptors this whole trip so far.
I've gotten very good at dodging all of the dinosaurs. We want to keep our arms intact. No dislocated shoulders here.
Well, like the last DDK one we used, right? There's the red thing!
We found it. I need 2 plugs!
That's ridiculous.
This is horrible.
In this economy? Unbelievable.
Okay, but we do need to remember that it is just south of main room with stairs.
Yeah, if we can't find another one. That only needs 1 plugs.
This is horrible. Why is it like this? Wait! Okay, can I use... No, it can't be used here.
Why does it hit our ID?
We don't have clearance. I want to make sure I'm going to the proper place. Okay, this is fine. Not the tooth plug. Toot toot.
I hate dinosaurs.
Yeah! This is fine.
You can't go juking them.
I know how to dodge now. Everything is perfect. They can't catch me. I'm too fast. Oh! Oh! Oh no, they didn't like that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. This is not where I want to be. This is where we got things. In fact, I think this is where we got the things. Oh, butts.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Okay. Where the fuck am I going? Where are we going?
So we don't...
Because it's definitely not upstairs. It's not on the top floor. Top
floor is
bad.
garbage.
Yeah.
Can't do shit there right now.
And we've been down to facility B1 and
Yeah,
it's not there.
I think we've done basement 1.
And it's not outdoors.
Yeah. There must be somewhere in this labyrinth on this floor.
This is terrible. Okay, where is our floor? This floor. Maybe in the other room north of where we are. Okay. I don't like it.
There's a thing here. Oh, we need to use the FC device on the sinus body near the lift is what we need to do. Obviously, sorry. I didn't think we'd work that out.
Absolutely not. So wait, so where the elevator is?
Yeah,
Oh,
by
God.
the elevator, there's a dead sinus, and we use the FC device on the dead sinus.
Oh, God! Okay, okay. Sorry, didn't mean to yell over you.
No, it's fine.
She wouldn't
There was
do
dinosaurs eating you.
So this man?
This man?
Is it this man?
Possibly?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
We need his fingerprints. I'm gonna... Hey, I've got the Game FAQs going up again. Same one from yesterday. He spelled enough of the words right for me to work out what he meant.
Perfect. Beautiful. Yeah, I never would have. Not ever once. Not even once. Okay, so now that we've done that, this is not where I want to be. Can I... I think we still need to find the room to, like, put this man's information on the card.
No, we need to find his code and a terminal capable of rewriting the card.
Hi, Agos. Which I think is the room that I've been trying to look for, so that was still an incredibly important step that I would have been very upset about not getting. Or I think we're still trying to find the room. Which I think is the one directly across from this one. Maybe. Excuse me.
It's talking about... Oh, jeez.
He was waiting. It was fine. Is it this room?
Ooh.
It may not be this room. Don't think it's this room.
What's this
room
called?
No! It is this room!
God.
It is this room! Ah! A device that can rewrite the data of an ID card! The staff! Assigned to the first floor, second floor, and B1 floor have their ID data registered in this terminal. To rewrite the data, you need an ID card. We found it. We found the dang room.
Yeah, we did.
This is perfect. Use. Initiating card data rewriting sequence. Enter the personal registration number. Oh, I have this. It's 57036.
That's what I had written down.
Hey! I knew it was gonna come in handy. The registration number has been verified. Please enter the fingerprint data. Will you enter the fingerprint data? Yes.
Fingerprint data.
Perfect. Yeah, I would have been very upset about the fingerprint thing. Accessing the requested data. Excuse me? Fingerprint data you entered does not match the personnel registration number.
Who's fucking...
This is horrible. Hold on, can we look at Corpse? Does he have a registration number on him? I'm gonna have to run, because there's dinosaurs out here! I've gone through the wrong door! I went through the wrong one! It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Totally got the situation under control and handled. Actually,
just peeking.
Memo on the whiteboard, will you read it? Change of personnel documents for the individual have not been turned in yet. Paul Baker! 58104, maybe? 58104.
It's worth trying.
Let's go. I'm gonna have to do all this again, aren't I? I am. Okay. Alright. Alright, I see how it is. I see how it is, game. 58104. Trying to set my glass down without knocking over my soda. Been verified. Enter the fingerprint data. Yes. Please? Yes! Okay. Perfect.
Nice.
Perfect. Section. Stabilizer experiment room. ID researcher. Paul Baker. There we go. So fast. Card data has been rewritten. We got the ID card.
I worried when the number were wrong, but you do remember, like, the puzzles have been pretty straightforward so far, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping it won't be. It's too tricky. New just written in the same way.
Yeah. No, again, I'm very happy with how a lot of the puzzles have been presented thus far.
Yeah.
And you said that the pipe one that we did was probably the worst puzzle?
I've heard that's semi-infamous?
Okay. Okay. So it shouldn't be any more difficult than what we've come across so far.
Yeah, so just read the whiteboard in the same room. It's probably fine.
Right? This is fine. I just have to remember to, like, check everything! Oh god. Okay, well there's a dinosaur on the other side now. That's fine. The way I just rub my face on every wall and just spam X. It's a bit of a problem sometimes.
Seems it's worked out so far.
That's a future Kayshurrr problem. No! Terrible. Horrible. Is this a danger moment?
Stop pulling our arms off, please.
Ah! Right? Dinosaur, please. Oh god. Unaid. Oh god. Hey! it's Eldor.
The L room.
Perfect. Okay. What? Oh no. Is it Lab Factory?
Is it laboratory?
It might be laboratory. Hold on. Oh my god, this music.
Does it make any of the words? The ones that are on both. The ones that are on both lines would have to be in both halves of the word or wrong.
Where'd the R go? Did I spell that right? It did. Okay, good. That moment of panic of being like, do I actually know how to spell laboratory? I do.
All the words were up there. They were just a big mess.
Oh.
There's probably a way to work that out, rather than just looking at the letters that were up there and saying, "Oh, it's laboratory."
I think it was the numbers that we saw corresponded with letters in the alphabet. So like 3 would be C.
Oh yeah.
No. Okay, I don't feel bad about wasting ammo here. This is horrible.
We've got the sleep bullets, right? And the slag bullets, the non-sleep bullets.
We got non-sleep bullets.
Is anyone hurt? You have to say it.
You have to tell me if one of you is dead. Consider. Hey. Well, I know I can't. Okay. Is it just you?
The other one might just be pretending.
I know. This is a problem. I have zip ammo, none ammo.
Just one way might be able to dodge him.
Nope, other one's dead. Great. Great. Just had to time that properly so he was on the ground. Oh no.
Oh, it sucks here. L room is bad.
Yeah, it's not great. Oh, Lord. Ah! Great, another med pack. Ah!
Nice. Another velociraptor also. do we need that rotating suitcase?
Yes.
Briefcase even.
What is this? Handgun sights. Fantastic! I can't... Please!
Oh no, not perfect. Oh,
Okay.
she's bloody bleeding again.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
She keeps doing that when she gets savaged by dinosaurs. I don't know what the deal is.
Regina, oh no. Have you considered not bleeding everywhere? Oh! No, Regina! There's another
Hey,
box
there's a red
there.
thing there.
I can't stop though. There's also dinosaur. I'm scared.
I
Okay.
think there's a puzzle in this room and not.
Right? Please give me a break. Just 2 seconds of a break. I'm gonna go ahead and use one of these. I don't think it's gonna stop me from bleeding, but it's fine.
It's fine.
A supercomputer is installed on the wall. This computer is used to simulate the energy efficiency of the third energy.
Okay-ish.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a hassle, but the side stream's a little bit choppy.
Oh no! Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I went to say earlier, but I checked the actual stream and it looks fine.
Hold
It
on
might
a
be my computer
sec.
exploding still.
Might be. Let me stop the stream for a second for you.
I think.
Let's
I'm
try
gonna need
it
to
again.
just quit out of Discord and try again.
Okay.
It's been weird.
We can wait a second if you gotta do your thing.
Sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay.
There is a file or something there that you can read.
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect time.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Alright, well, while Fruity's doing that, we'll read this dang file. File titled Security Manual Volume 2. Will you read it? Yeah, I guess we'll read it. DDK, the electronic lock system of this facility has been updated. A more intricate code system has been introduced, which improves the level of security. You will need to be aware of the following information when entering the passwords. Number-based key. Decoding, Part 2. In a case where the numbers are written instead of letters in the key field, the numbers could indicate the columns to be deleted. Oh no. For example, if 2 is in the key, you should delete all of the letters from the second column of the code. I barely understand that. I kind of understand it, but I barely understand it. Give me
I'm
this.
back, by the way.
Welcome back. We have a second plug now. Everything's great.
Does seem to be working better.
Good.
I don't know what the problem was.
Maybe it was just feeling a little sleepy. It needed a temporary break. Just a moment.
Just needed a couple seconds.
Also, we got a screwdriver.
Nice.
Nothing else in there. So notice, warning, do not touch this panel unless the lock system malfunctions! The circuits inside this panel supply the electric power needed for the forced release of the lock.
We do have 2 panel keys, and there are 2 panels there.
There are. A slot to insert a card key. There's an identical slot at the other side of the monitor.
Are those the panel? The panels for the panel keys?
Think so. No. Can I use... No.
Panel key, what are you for?
Honestly, hey panel key. I'm gonna look at our map, because I haven't, like, at all, since getting over here.
You could probably use the screwdriver on the do not touch panel.
Probably.
It's probably what that's for.
Let's go. Where? Yes, I will remove the screws.
Please don't ever touch this panel. Immediately touches the panel.
I don't have to operate this right now. Can I undo this one as well? No. No, just the one, actually.
It was a disposable screwdriver.
Horrible one-time use. You use it the once and it breaks. Can't use it ever again. Okay, there was... I'm so scared. But...
There were some dinosaurs.
There were a couple of them? Just a couple of dinosaurs. I'm sure it's not anything we need to worry about ever. ever. Get me out of here. I'm gonna try and open up this ammo panel over here. Dinosaur, excuse you. I have 2 plugs.
Oh!
Give me those. Give me those. Give me all of these. Perfect. And do I care about poison darts?
Kills enemy in a single shot seems like something we might care about.
Yeah, you right.
Sleep darts I'm not sure about, but that sounds like a gun.
Yeah, I assumed that it was this poison dart was gonna be like the sleep dart, and I was incorrect. Okay.
Have we used this sleep dart?
No. No.
Seems like knocking him out and running past could be
a good solution. We do have a lot of N
yeah,
aids.
fine.
Not much. We got dinosaurs. We got so many dang dinosaurs here. I'm running into doors, chairs. Those are chairs. Dominors. That's the word for dinosaur now. Obviously. Hi, Salvia. No, it's going good though. We got dinosaurs. We got friends. We got so many dinosaurs. I can't stress enough how many dinosaurs there are.
What more could you want? We got bite wounds and we got friends.
A horrible combination of things.
We got one really bad arm.
We've got our poor arm, honestly. Alright, we've got simulations being run on a supercomputer. The results of the calculations done by the computer are displayed on the monitor. Okay. Hey, buddy. Terminal to operate the supercomputer. The power is not turned on. Can I turn you on?
You sure we don't need to mess with this panel that controls the power? Because the power's not on.
So notice regarding the panel next to it. Oh.
Oh, it's for lock stuff, not for power stuff. I understand.
That's horrible. But what
Still
if
want
I
to
need...
touch it because it says not to touch it.
Let me touch it. Maybe I can touch this computer? I can touch this computer. Experimental area control program running. Auto lock status on. Will you release the lock? Yes. Enter the area number to be released. 1. 1. Specified area number does not exist. Okay, would you like to tell me what the area number is, maybe? Do you say the area number? No, you don't say any numbers. It is probably 420, you're right. How funny would it be if it was? It's not. I'm gonna try it, though. Yeah.
0069.
0420. How about... Zero, 69.
Thought that were a different noise. I thought it was actually it. I'm so excited.
Can you imagine?
Did someone say
Luna!
dinos?
We said dinos. we def said dinos. Thank you for the tier 1 sub, friend. 8 months though. What is happening? Welcome in, Luna. How are you doing? Oh, I didn't mean to save, but I guess we're saving now. We got dang dinos. We got friends and dinos and bite wounds and dislocated shoulders and kitty cats. Hi, baby. What are you doing? You're just staring at me. Can I help you? No, you're melting.
Oh, jeez.
Lamia also says it's too hot. I support sleeping through the day. Hi! Hold on a second. Hello! Yeah? Come here. Look who it is. It is a llama. It is a tiny llama. Hello. I know, it's very hot. Yeah. Are you incredibly sleepy too? Because it's so dang hot. Aggressive head bumps. Hi. Can we say hello to everyone? Can we actually say hello?
It's come to tell you it's too hot and you need to sort this out. It's ridiculous.
Look, I would if I could, but I can't. Hi. It is the baby. This is Lamia. She's a good, sweet girl. I would show her off a little more, but she's like, no, I lay like this now. Hi. Can I set you in my lap? Is that acceptable? I'll be a little too hot with you in my lap. This is fine. It was so dang hot last night that she didn't come into the room, like, at all. Like, the last, like, I mean, she usually always sleeps with me at night, but she's been, like, sleeping on my head the last week or two, but last night she, like, refused to even just be in the bedroom because it was so hot. Hi. It was sad. It made me sad. I couldn't snuggle my kitten. Alright, there's definitely a dinosaur over there. Maybe now's a good time to test out that sleep dart.
Yeah.
Actually, before we do that, I will... Okay. Goodbye, Llama.
In Resident Evil, Crackle hits, it's just an instant kill, right? I seriously doubt it's that in this, but...
There's a possibility. Akos, honestly, kinda same. I laid there, but I was just spread out on the bed and was just dying. It was horrible. Is this idiot running in? What are you doing?
Where even?
Hey, bud?
Oh, it's two of them. And they're having a bad time.
This is a test. How long will he be down for? Okay. A decent amount of time.
If there's just one, and you really need to get past them, that's free.
Yeah, that's, cool. I mean, that's... Good science has occurred. We appreciate...
We can't properly keep him down anyway. Like, just pushing him over with the shotgun was pretty good already.
Yeah.
It just takes too many bullets to actually kill him.
Mm-hmm. No, so we'll, probably just start using those anaids for those sleep darts.
Seems good.
And also, we got the other E card. March! Third energy. It is the system that can produce infinite energy from the air. The completion of the system will signify the end of one of society's greatest problems. It is true that the system was initially developed for military use, but we took part in the project because there is a silver lining in it for our future. But something is terribly wrong. It brings back dinosaurs. Military has been giving us excessively favorable treatment for the simple development of a fundamental energy system. I must discover the true purpose of this project before irreparable harm is done. What on earth is that kid planning to do? That kid being the military? What?
That kid, Uncle Sam. What's he up to?
Not Uncle Sam. April. I haven't found any clues in the past month. He is indeed a genius. He seems to have noticed our secret investigation activities. I heard he established a secret lab on this floor somewhere. The only way to learn of his true intentions will be to find that lab. July. At long last. Mike has found a clue pertaining to the location of the secret laboratory. He said that he hid the clue in our secret place inside the library room. Kirk has been meeting frequently with Colonel Clay, the leader of the project, in the computer room lately. What are they up to? Mischievous things.
Some mad science has happened here.
Oh, absolutely.
Found out a way to generate infinite energy by turning air into dinosaurs. Oh god, no! Dinosaurs! Ah!
Can you imagine how many dinosaurs you can make from the air? We'd have too many dinosaurs then. That's too many dinosaurs.
The US military is doing investigations into a bomb that turns the air into dinosaurs around the target.
You know who this is a job for, right? It's a Velocipaster. Well, it's a job for
We do gotta get Velocipaster on the phone. Perfect man for the job.
Honestly, I trust Velocipaster. This computer terminal controls the condition of the experiment room remotely. Something is shown on the display. Lock code 7248. 7248. Oh, I didn't want to look at this. I've already looked at this. I understand. Make sure to lock the door by the computer during experiments. Adding another gas to one with a poison level under 30 may neutralize the gas. Red gas neutralizes the poison in the green gas. Red neutralizes green. Blue gas neutralizes, right? Blue gas neutralizes the poison in the orange gas. Blue neutralizes orange. Something tells me we'll need this later. Green neutralizes purple. Remember these rules when mixing the gases. Thanks. Sleep well, Akos. Try and stay cool. Can I? Always gonna enjoy those dinos. Always.
See, alpacas.
Where am I going? Back to the save room.
Hope you managed to get some dang sleep.
Honestly, sleep is important, and we like it when our friends get some sleep. We gotta do sleep good. We usually do it very bad.
Not when it's too dang hot.
Oh my god. It needs to cool down. Alright, let's do the thing. I've already started messing my notes up by just writing down numbers and not putting anything next to them. Numbers confirmed. The gas experiment room lock has been released.
Nice.
Perfect. Let's go.
Let's do some poison gas experiments.
Right? Let's go. I'm gonna save over 1 because we are fully healed. Everything is fine. Travis, no. Travis, no.
Fake number, Travis. Doesn't appear in the files.
It's incorrect. In here. Let's go. Joke's on you, I'll ruin it for myself.
Gas experiment room. What could go wrong?
Absolutely nothing. That is the number you told us yesterday. Notes from gas mixing experiment. Believe the poison level of the gas for humans is 85 or greater. Closer the door of gas. Wait. The closer the color of gas becomes to the color of the 3 basic colors, red, blue, green, the more poisonous the gas becomes. If the color becomes transparent, though, through mixing, the toxins have been neutralized. Oh! Oh, there's a man in there.
Should we not kill him with poison? Can we unpoison the man by making the gas leave?
Oopsies. We might do a murder on accident, but it's a good thing we just saved.
Yeah.
There are 3 buttons. They are used to supply the gas to the gas chamber. Which button will you press? Red, green, or blue? Well, it's yellow, right? Yellow
Unless
is...
it's the purple bar?
Is it the purple bar?
If it's yellow, we'd want to try make it orange. And if it's purple, we'd want to use green.
We're gonna use green. It's orange now! So blue. We want to use the blue button.
This is fine, we're doing it.
It's green now. Which means red?
That's what it says in the notes. In the file.
Oh!
No, that's bad. Nothing beats red, so that's a problem.
Yeah, we could turn it purple. No, that just turned it blue.
I'm confused. If we press all the buttons, will we win?
It's green.
Last time we did red when it was green and it went all the way back up. Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand.
The note was a trap.
This is horrible. Okay, let's go back to blue. And then...
It's either green or blue? Because red is what the note said, but also doesn't work.
Yeah. So let's try blue? No, that made it bad again.
This is nonsense.
What?
So I think if we do red now, it'll just make it 0? Because it's under 30. So that part made sense. All the rest of it didn't.
The rest of it was nonsense, but hey, you know what? We solved it. I think. I think we can call that it's completed, at the very least. You're not Kirk.
Gonna be okay.
You can tell because he's not just hair.
That fool.
That.
Who are you talking about?
What are you planning, Kirk?
I'm here with the rescue team. Where is Dr. Kirk?
Where's Kirk?
This will give you access to his personal lab.
Rip, man. It was nice knowing you.
Might have poisoned him too much while I'm poisoning him.
I don't know. Maybe you've been sitting in there for a while. I don't think that's our fault. You can't prove anything.
Maybe you shouldn't have gone in the fucking gas chamber. Maybe you should have stayed out of there.
Right?
How did you even get in there?
Who knows? Alright, we got...
Did the
V1
dinosaurs
feature.
put him in there? Sorry.
Absolutely. No, 100%.
Those raptors are just bullies.
They're horrible. This is why we don't hang out with raptors. They're mean. They were gonna give him a swirly, but there were no toilets available. So, see? This is how it happened. This is exactly how it happened.
Makes sense now.
Are we gonna poison the fucking dinosaur?
Do it. That was cool.
Just triple tapping. Making sure instead that was really cool. I liked that.
I love that it lets you do stuff like that. It's cool.
Yeah! No, it's very good. Now that I understand that I just have to, like, hit all of the buttons during the danger portions. Good. They're good. I like them. The dino deaths have been very cool during those bits. Alright. What are we doing? Where are we going? Absolutely nowhere. Perfect. I love that for us. That's okay. Should probably gotta figure out where I'm gonna head, though. Because we've looked at everything in this area. So we could go back to the save room. And then head south from there. So we got... It was a basement 1 key, wasn't it?
Sorry,
No, it's okay. Don't gotta apologize. You're fine. I'm mostly just thinking out loud, honestly. Oh. I don't have to operate this right now. Okay, but we are gonna have to come back down here at some point, right? We do have both E keys now.
have we seen? I don't think we've seen an Edo.
We haven't. But we can keep an eye out for it.
We can do.
Because keys have been located, which is exciting. Oh! That's a dinosaur. All the way to the end of the hallway. Understood. Dinosaur, I gotta go. Excuse me, coming through! Oh, wait, there's gonna be another dinosaur over here, isn't there? No! Never mind! Idiot. I like it when the dinosaurs jump into the lasers. Oh, there's a dinosaur in here. Great. We could... go off this way. Oh, never mind. Can't do that, actually. Actually, I can't do that at all. Oh, God! Excuse me, I'm getting into the lift. You gotta go, dinosaur. Yeah, let's go to the first floor. It's nice to know that the dinosaurs do have some manners. They won't attack you when you're going through doors, when you're trying to get into the elevator. Right? No, it would be horrible.
The dinosaurs follow a code.
Absolutely. What a good bunch of lads. Or ladies. Is this a Jurassic Park situation? Are all dinosaurs girls? Oh, hi. Idiot. I could unlock this. Or I could not.
These are the choices.
We have 2 options. And I don't like either.
I did look up where to go if we get too lost.
Cool. Figure we'll run around for a minute, since there are sometimes weird cutscenes by just walking into an area that you have revisited. We should probably go see Rick.
I don't like that Kevin's that, like, key thingy without saying anything.
Right? Let's look at it. It's the B1 key chip.
Oh, okay. It says it unlocks the library room, so...
Yeah, but where is
Oh,
that?
is it for the, Why is there a cell in the library? I don't understand. No, never mind. I don't remember. We've been to the library room, though. That was in the lab one.
Was it?
Yeah, I remember being confused by why there was a library in the lab.
I don't. So you're doing better than me. Again, I think most of the time I just panic because there's dinosaurs.
That makes sense. There's dinosaurs.
I'm just
That's
like,
an appropriate response to dinosaurs.
right? Nothing else exists for me. It's just oops, all dinosaurs. Right, this is where the yellow box is. Okay, can I do anything with this? Hey, Regina, can you look at this? This terminal keeps track of the soldiers who were positioned in the facility. Okay, hold on, sorry. My face is incredibly itchy all of a sudden.
Probably all the cat hairs.
Probably all the cat hairs. It's probably Lamia shedding everywhere.
It's Lamia's karate move.
It is. Instead of pocket sand, it's just surprise fur.
I was gonna say, it's the cat equivalent of pocket sand.
Same
Tiny
hat.
itchy hairs.
Horrible. Terrible, even. Okay, I've gone too far down the hallway. I need to go into that save room. Which is... Okay, I didn't actually choose the wrong way. Great! Great! No! Please! Dinosaur! You can't just headbutt me all the time! Just listen. Dinosaur. Yeah, we'll save our progress.
If they pounce on you, it does hurt a lot, but otherwise, they don't seem to do that much damage. It's just if you get stuck on them, and then they do the pounce move.
Yeah. Which is great.
Stay ahead of them. But not that dangerous?
Mm-hmm. It's just sometimes hard to tell, like, whether it's going to be a headbutt or a pounce. Like, I'm sure that there is a different animation for both, but, you know.
What? Oh.
Yeah, it seems like a very similar setup, but the headbutt hits you way earlier in the animation.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, by the time you realize it's not the headbutt, it's because you're about to be pounced on.
Right? Okay. Can we... No, this isn't for the chip, because that's for the library cell. Travis, thank you for the contribution to the gummy hunt. Reminder, we do have the community challenge up.
Gotta find those gummies.
Gotta get all the gummies. I'm very excited to gummy hunt with everyone. It's gonna be great.
Get all the lips and eyeballs.
It's gonna
69%, you've all got to stop now. No more points in the gummy hunt, please.
Also, thank you, Luna. I've been forcing myself not to play any more Elden Ring, so I don't, like, burn myself out from it still to this day, because I know that, like, when we get to the gummy hunt, I want to do, like, an extra long stream for it, and I don't want to, like, start it up and then be like, I've been playing this too much already anyway. I've been waiting. Very excited.
Sounds healthy. You did go real hard on Elden Ring.
Oh my god. Nearly 300 hours in it. It's fine. This is fine. I wouldn't worry about it. Yes, I'll press the switch. Nothing happens. Okay, that's fine.
You're doing a good job of remembering where all the lock things are, though. That's good. That's a good sign.
That is- oh god! Please, excuse me, coming through. It's very good.
Just keep running into it. The goobers.
Idiots. Absolute idiot. Where does this go?
When they were making this game, the plan was that the dinosaurs were intelligent enemies, so they'd see what you were doing and they'd learn and adapt to how you were playing the game. Unfortunately, it was on the PlayStation 1, so...
I was gonna say, how'd that work out for him?
So they ended up just using like a few different sorts of AI for different enemies.
That's still really neat, though. And like, even with
It was very ambitious with this game, but they did have to cut a lot of the things they wanted to do because the technology just didn't exist. It wasn't even close.
all the more reason for them to do like a remake of it. Hold on, I do have to blow my nose. So stream won't be able to hear me, but you will. Fruity, you get to hear me honk my honker.
Oh no. I heard the honk. Honks detected.
Alright, we're good.
Okay.
You get to hear the honks. No one else does though.
Secret honk.
Secret honks. Normally I'm fine with just like slightly wiping my nose, but they are working on the field across the street from my house, and it's not going well for me.
Oh, the bad corn gunk.
Not quite yet, but it is like, you know, pushing up all the garbage from last year and all the bad animal grossness that gets left out there because it exists outside. Just, it sucks.
Outside, gross.
Yeah, honestly though. Okay, so library. It did say B1, right? I could just check the item.
I think it says B1.
B1 key chip. Yeah. So that is this floor. We gotta find the library, and I don't know where the library is.
I thought we were behind the lab door. That's also B1, right? It's a different B1.
I don't know. I think so.
Unless I'm big wrong. I know we don't want to be there because it's too full of dinosaurs, but...
Yeah, it was incredibly full of dinosaurs. I meant to time that a little better. That's okay.
Lousy with velociraptors over there.
Ah! Dinosaur! You know! You garbage piece of shit!
So rude!
Oh, I keep forgetting that they can knock my weapons out of my hands.
I don't think the raptors have done that yet. I knew they could do that, but I was saving it to be a surprise.
And I've gone the wrong way. Oh no. I guess it was just the pterodon that knocked my shit out of my hand.
Yeah, and already cutscene.
Horrible. Horrible.
But raptor tail whips can also do it.
Horrible! That's
Oh,
my
geez.
shooting arm. Raptor, please. I can't
There was
see
a
past
hole
your
in my second favorite drinking arm. It was like Baghdad with G-string. Don't worry about it.
Why is Max Payne? Just like, hi TK. That's okay. We'll forgive you for ruining the 69%. Let's can we get can we get an F nice in chat, please? How's it going though, friend? How are you doing? Still thinking about Baghdad and G-strings. Sorry.
It sticks with you, that quote.
It does. Oh my god. Okay, we are hurt. Also. Okay, we're good. Glad you're feeling better. Good. Whew. Okay, do we want to go? No, I can't go there. We want to go back into the elevator, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I know what's happening. I've gone the wrong way. The chickens are here. This is the chicken zone. We don't want to be in the chicken zone. I want...
This is where we just came from, right?
Yeah! Oh!
Oh, jeez.
Okay, well, maybe we do go here. Maybe we run past the chickens and we go downstairs and then we go back upstairs via the elevator. Oh, JK, we go upstairs and then we go downstairs. Okay, no, I understand, and I do know how to get there. It's just gonna take me a minute to get there. Because everything is blocked off and horrible. Oh god, I'm taking the longest possible route. This is where Rick is. Hi, bye, Rick. Where does this go? The little mouse click sounds. Do love them. I'm gonna go this way. I think. I'm gonna run into the wall a ton.
Yeah, that'll do it. Eventually the wall will give way.
It's true.
And you find the rocket launcher.
I am more stubborn than the wall. Okay, we'll go this way. Guess it didn't really matter which way we went. They both lead to the same place. And then we'll go here.
May or may not be on the wiki quote page from X-Pen.
Oh no! Oh no. You got any good ones you gotta share. I've used the card.
Only on Max Payne 1 now. They're all very strange.
Of course they are! Max Payne's a wild game. Oh, jeez.
Staggering on the mill roof in ice and snow and wild wind, I was a ninja. My kung fu was strong.
Oh no. No, Max. Oh, ow. Ow. Oh, we're getting headbutted. It's fine.
It's... Max Payne 1's just like generic. Whack up, Max Payne. Taking on the role of the mythic detective, Bogart as Marlowe, or as Sam Spade going after the Maltese Falcon to unravel all the mysteries, following a path of clues to that final revelation, even if it would take me down to the cold, cavernous depths of a grave.
So dramatic. So dramatic.
He's very dramatic.
Terminal to manage the information of the key chips that are used to open the data storage. You can input the data to a key chip and search the data storage from here. Do it. Do it.
Nice.
Do it.
I'll try and be less than helpful now, not just read Max Payne.
No, do it. Keep doing it. Will you override the key chip data? Yes? 3695? Number has been confirmed, displaying magnetic pattern. Data for the storage 3695. Please override the magnetic pattern of the key chip correctly. What? Oh, wait. Oh.
Oh no. Okay, it always puts it on the top, right? So this isn't too bad.
No, wait, I can figure this out. I can do
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. And then this.
This looks good. I think you're getting there. No!
Oh, I did it bad. Okay, no, that's okay. That's okay.
I thought you had it.
I also thought I had it, and then I clicked wrong. It's fine. We want to do these. these.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
as long as you
yeah.
have the block of 2
And then
in there, it's fine. You just need
and
to
then
move
this
the.
one.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't that bad. It was just a
Just-
little weird.
It
Just
was-
kind of scary.
Right? You first see it and you're like, oh god, this is horrible, but no, I understand. I understand what they wanted. Indicator has been turned on! Great! Are there velociraptors in here still? I'm assuming not.
I like it when there's not dinosaurs in a place.
I also like
That's
it when
why
there's
we
not-
didn't check here. He had 2 fucking velociraptors in last time we were around.
Yup! It actually had just the one, and then there was a second one, and I was just like, we gotta go. It's time to go. We gotta leave. Wait. I keep forgetting that I have to do the thing. The letter R is carved into the card. You got the key card R! Card R.
Nice.
But is that all you say? Yeah, that is all you say.
Is that? No, that's not one of the weird lock things. That's a different thing that just says R on it.
Yes. Correct.
Oh, jeez.
Dear Paul, I finally found the clue! This is the key card that you need to enter his secret lab. The only chance to enter it is during tonight's experiment. Obtain the other key card without hesitation. The other key card is in the chief's room. I heard the secret codes for the hidden safe are written on the panel keys. Now, if you find out where the laboratory is, everything will be solved. I'll leave that to you. Good luck, Mike. Okay, so we have the other panel. We have the panel keys. We
Yeah.
do have panel keys.
Chief's
Where-
room is by is in the useless part that we hit.
The
Where
upstairs?
there's a dinosaur right outside. Yeah, the useless upstairs.
Useless upstairs. Okay.
I think that's Chief's room.
I am inclined
Like
to agree
right by
with you.
where the raptor sometimes stands and eats the corpse.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I'm inclined to agree because I think my first thought was Chief's room is upstairs, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know shit. Hi, sleepy dinosaur. He'd take nap right there.
All I
No.
know is the past is a gaping hole. You try to run from it, but the more you run, the deeper, more terrible it grows behind you. Its edges yawning at your heels. Your only chance is to turn around and face it. But it's like looking down into the grave of your love, or kissing the mouth of a gun, a bullet trembling in its dark nest, ready to blow your head off. Life is like a box of whole. I may have added the last part.
So when are you finishing Max Payne? Oh my god.
I might have to play through the series.
You have to. You can't keep this from us.
Because that's a Max Payne 2. That's not even a Max Payne 3.
Oh dang. You gotta play all 3 of them now. Please. And thank you. Oh, I don't want to go upstairs. It's bad up here. Hey. It's bad up here. Just gonna slowly make our way over. 'Cause I don't want to deal with all the freaking dinosaurs.
Too many freaking dinosaurs.
Too many freaking dinosaurs. It's the chief's room. Look at you remembering exactly where it was.
Yeah!
Goodness gracious. I think we have gotten everything that we needed from here, though.
Oh. Oh. But he said Chief's room, right? He said go to the safe in the Chief's room. There is no safe in the chief's room. It's a problem.
Well, I wonder if it was to get the key that this man had, but we've already done that because this was the first place that we came.
Do we already have all the keys he needed?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kayshurrr.
That's okay. That's okay. We didn't get hurt on our way up
room
here.
and I got excited because I remembered where it was.
No, it was very exciting. And we didn't have to go that far into the upstairs, so you know what? It's okay. It is time to leave, though. It is time to leave, though. It's time to leave, though. Please!
Tried to knock your gun out your hand.
It's not allowed.
Sorry.
Just gonna run around him. It's fine. This is not where I want to be either. I want to be at the end of the hallway. This is terrible. Continue your nap, buddy. Don't worry about it. Oh, jeez. Okay. Let's go down here. I think we have to go all the way back downstairs. I think we have to go all the way back downstairs.
The past is a puzzle, like a broken mirror. As you piece it together, you cut yourself. Your image keeps shifting, and you change with it. It could destroy you, drive you mad. It could set you free.
Facts, though. Oh, jeez. I just love how, like, unabashedly serious Max Payne takes itself.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even flinch away from just being like, no, this is a very serious game about a very serious man. No jokes, only seriousness.
A very, very serious man called Max Payne. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer changes his name to Max Power because he decided he was going to change his name and he said that on his hairdryer, so... that was what he went with.
Oh no.
That's what I think of whenever I hear Max Payne.
This is an acceptable response? Okay, hold on. Where am I going? Over here. We're going over here. We should stop at the green box so we can get some AIDS. I've done it again. I did it again. I've gone too far. He's gonna freaking tail whip me, and it's gonna be horrible, and I'm gonna hate everything. It's okay. We just got headbutted. It's fine. Can't get me in here. We're safe. Yes. Yes, I want to save. If we're passing through, we might as well. Also, no yawns. I can't yawn. It's not allowed. Oh, box. It's inventory time.
Best website in the world, thegamer.com, has an article of 10 Max Payne quotes everyone can sadly relate to.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
You gotta share them now.
Oh god, the whole one's on there. He talks about holes a lot more than that, by the way. He's got a lot of hole quotes in Max Payne 2.
Why?
Because he's... don't like holes?
Because he's full of holes? It's because he's full of holes, isn't it?
Probably. He does have to eat a lot of painkillers for that.
I thought he did that just because he liked them.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
This is fine. This is fine!
How high can we stack and darts?
3. We can only
Oh, that's
stack
terrible.
3. It is horrible. But you know what?
Can we-
That's okay.
Can we put more anesthetic in the and S's? Is this a good or a
Yes.
bad idea?
Looks like it's a good idea. It gives us one more, so we get 4. I understand volume now. For each for each tally, you get 1. And I think level, that's gonna be...
That's how strong it is, right?
Yeah, which, like, kind of made sense beforehand. I still don't quite understand where on the scale of things it falls, but you know what, that's fine.
Assume it's gonna go up to and M?
I mean, we'll find out.
M++!
We're here for it.
Oh, I took up 2 slots though.
Yeah.
Why are you like this?
Yeah, that's not as great. But we do have a lot of... Jesus Christ. Let's put that there. And then... I can put you back. We'll sort real fast, because that should stack the things that weren't stacked before. And then I can take this. And... yeah. Yeah! Mix more of the small ones. And then we'll do... that! Yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah! We like this! We'll keep a stack of Undart M plus on us.
I don't like that it has this many like gradations of item
Right.
and it just fills up your inventory. This is a survival horror. We only have so many spots. We can't have an M and an M++.
Right? It's horrible. Horrible.
We can hold 10 things.
It's incredibly rude, but you know, it's fine. I don't want to put the poison dart away. Because what if we
Yeah,
need it?
Thinking like if there's like a boss that might just kill it.
Right? Right? That's what I'm thinking!
I don't know for sure, but...
But even still, you would imagine it would
That'd be
still do,
good.
like, a significant amount of damage, even if it doesn't one-shot a boss.
Yeah.
So, like, I want to keep the poison dart on us, which is unfortunate
good
because it is just the one.
It's too good to use on like basic raptors, but we do get all our key items for free, so we do have a few spots to work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not quite Resident Evil. It lets you hold the things that you absolutely need
Thank
in
goodness.
addition to your inventory.
Thank goodness. I'd be very upset if it didn't.
I mean, Resident Evil, you spend a lot of time running back and forth between boxes because you brought the wrong key by accident.
That is true. Okay. I think I'm happy with how our inventory is at the moment. We got our handgun bullets, we've got shotgun bullets, we have a lot, actually. Both slag and regular. Which is nice. Got our medium med packs. We got some sleep darts.
Oh.
Think.
Hydrate
What?
from Nem.
Oh! Thank you. Thank you, Fruity, for putting that. Also, thank you, Nem, for hydrating me. I got so absorbed
thanks for
into...
watering cash.
Yes, thank you. I got so absorbed into inventory management that just I completely zoned out and definitely kind of forgot that we were streaming. So focused on this
You gotta
frickin-
stay hydrated when it's 1,000,000 degrees.
God, for real though. It is currently only 63 degrees Fahrenheit. But it is incredibly humid.
Well, just drink the dang water.
Just
Out of the air.
breathe.
Just
I'll
drink the air.
breathe
Yeah, you're
deep.
fine.
So bad. It's so bad. No, it is much better today than it was over the last couple of days, though. But just, oof. Oof.
I'm gonna sneak off for like 1 second. I'm just gonna go fill up my glass with water. I'll be.
I should probably top my water off too, actually, now that you say that. So this is fine. We'll just go do your water thing. I'll still be back before you. My water's not as cold as it was, though, and I need colder water. Hold on. Wah! Alright.
I need to get a big juice. I need to get some kind of proper streaming mug.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I need to clean out Big Juice. I need to get proper cleaning tools for Big Juice is the thing. Big Juice is technically clean, but it's such a pain in the ass to clean out because it's so big. Maybe I'll add that to my throne wish list.
Bigger juice. Alternate juice.
The biggest juice. No, I just need cleaning supplies for them.
Okay.
It's a big dang bottle. I can't, it's huge, but the opening in the top is just slightly too small for me to like put my hand in. So I can't just like shove my hand in a sponge in there. So it's just a pain in the ass to clean.
Yeah.
Which is why I stopped using them for a while. But I want to use Big Juice again because I stay so fucking hydrated with them.
Has a lot of juice in it.
So much juice. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. Alright, where are we going? What am I doing? Panels. We were doing the panels. But to do that, we have to go upstairs and go to the elevator to go back downstairs.
Makes
right?
sense. Yeah. If we're going to the horrible area that's full of dinosaurs.
Yes.
Then yes, that's how you do it.
So I have gone the wrong way. That's okay. We did get to save after I did all the inventory stuff, so I'm not mad about that. Yeah.
But when was I ever about smart moves? I'm a dumb move guy.
Oh no.
TheGamer.com says, if smart moves were always so obvious and easy, everybody would be making the best and most intelligent decisions on a daily basis. Unfortunately, people are prone to do what is the most appealing at the time based on their wants and emotions, rather than what is actually good for them.
Thank you. Gamer article for this little
This
nugget.
is the most pointless article I have ever seen.
This is end of the month. They had a quota they had to meet, but had nothing like worthwhile to write about. So they're like, you know what would be funny? You know what could meet the word minimum and still get me paid? It's this is how we get these kinds of articles.
Gamer.com is, it's like just horrible clickbait articles. It's not like tongue-in-cheek. It's not a joke.
No.
But it seems like it's a joke.
Horrible. Terrible. Oh,
I'm pretty
dinosaur.
sure it's not like Clickle, but it gets awful close sometimes.
Oh no. Oh no. Terrible. Okay. Sorry. Planning the route in which I run, just all the way down the hallway. Just fully down the hallway. Please! Ah! No!
Jeez. Yeah, if you get caught, it's horrible. You don't know that they're so big. They just take up
Honestly.
so much room.
More than half of the hallway. It's horrible. Nope, there's a dinosaur in here. Game, why did you respawn me in a room with a dinosaur? It's incredibly rude of you. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Oh, nope, this is fine. It's fine.
That was nicely done.
Ah! I was gonna try and do that, but
it's
It's
got
fine.
nothing.
I I'm getting used to these stupid dinosaur moves. Okay. This is great.
It's just like looping zombies back in the Spencer Mansion, except they're a little bit faster.
Just a touch. Okay, can I use the panel key now? What am I supposed to do? Slot to insert a card key. There's an identical slot at the other side of the monitor.
Is this the computer room?
I'll tell you in a second.
What?
That's not a great sound.
Wait! We have the Aki, right?
Yes.
That's a different thing from the panel keys.
Yeah.
I think we need the other one of those.
The other R
And I
key?
think those are for that. Possibly an Aki? That was just me thinking, not
Okay.
reading the guide. I think we need another keycard. Can we use keycard R on either of those? Wait, right and left. We need an L.
Oh my god. You're right. Hold
No,
on.
I'm left.
No, you're... Please. Okay. I have to make sure I'm pointing at the right thing. Cannot be used here. This is my thinking motion. Where am I supposed to get the other key then? Oh no. More than half of this game is going to be us staring at the map. Is there...
Chief
Sorry,
Fingers panel key 1. I'm reading the guide.
Okay.
Uh,
I just need a push in the right direction, that's all.
it is in the Chief's room.
Are you shitting me? Are you
By the big
fuck-
window, there's a panel that wants you to put the 2 panel keys in.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Not kidding.
Ah! Okay, you know what?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
We got
You know what?
confused by the panel keys because we had the
Yeah.
bit with 2 keycard slots next to each other,
Yeah.
and we had 2 keys, and it was not for that. It's completely different, nothing to do with that.
It's okay, we could hear the raptors be idiots back there, so that makes me happy.
That's pretty.
It's not gonna be too hard to get there. Buff!
It's getting back. That's the problem. Because you have to run past those 2 again.
Yeah. This is my only complaint about fixed camera games.
Yeah.
Is that-
This is just like a very not obvious thing that was hiding in
Yeah.
the corner.
Yo.
And you're not in control of the camera, so there's nothing you can do about it.
Yo.
It does genuinely help in Resident Evil that the items that you can use
Are shiny?
are
or just
weird
automatic?
polygons, and
Yeah.
the background is hand drawn. So
Yeah. No, for sure. I like it, but also, please make it obvious what I can interact with. Please. That's okay. Fuck off. Fuck off, dinosaur. I don't got time for you, buddy.
plus we did get a panel key from in here, by the way.
Yeah.
It's right back by the window there, it says. Fucking hell. It's the medal. Once you use both cat panel keys on that. I assumed that we'd look to that and it was just nothing. What? Does it matter?
I mean, we got a 50-50 chance if it does, so, you know.
Oh no.
There's a panel here that accepts a numeric code. Will you enter a number? I don't have a fucking number. I don't got no number. Hey, game, I don't have a number. Hey, game? Hey!
Wee.
Hey! We don't have a number.
We have not got this number.
We don't have a number.
It does show what the number is in the card. I wasn't gonna venture that without asking.
Where is the number located?
I don't know. It skips that part in the guide. It just says what the
Oh.
code is.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
horrible.
Let's just insert
Wait.
it.
No, it does say.
Is it very far away? If it's very far away, we'll just type it in.
Before you enter the panel keys into the control box, check the panel keys is. Oh god!
That scared the absolute shit out of me! Game, I haven't done the thing I'm supposed to do in here! Ah!
So can you leave? Do you mind?
I think I was shooting darts at him.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit of an issue. But that's okay. I would much rather waste darts than actual bullets.
Yeah.
So this is fine. Holy shit, that was terrifying.
Just waiting. Just the numbers.
Right? Please.
Apparently the numbers were on the panel keys. Can we get them back?
Yeah, we have them.
Okay. 705. It's upside down.
Oh, I do remember looking at those and being like, "That's a weird word." Oh my god. All right, that was 1, so 705 and 037. 705 037. 705 037. I was like, Leo
Possibly
song.
037 705, depending.
Okay. Yeah, no,
We'll
that's
try
fair.
that.
Oh, I wonder if it's dependent on like in which order you put them in.
Could be.
So we'll do the first one first. On the left-hand side. And then... No. Oh my god, sorry. My brain has just said, no, menus don't make sense anymore. This is fine. Okay, so... Yes, 705 037. We've done it. The letter L is carved into the card.
Yeah, that's
No.
left and right.
Yep, now we gotta go downstairs.
That was mean, because it...
Oh, yeah.
You could think, like, the Sol and Leo on the top is suspicious, and obviously we did, but without
was-
being told that that's actually numbers.
That was so long ago, too! Oh
Yeah.
god. Oh, I've done it again.
And there not being, like, any hint to...
Right?
Maybe it said the numbers were on the card and we were just stuck on the... No, wait, because we were looking at the panel keys then. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. That is the meanest that this game has been so far. So I'm not too upset.
It's not too bad with the guide open.
It does help. I don't know, sometimes these old games can get so, like, clunky with their logic. That
Yeah,
it's like...
that one...
No, go for it.
The logic was fine and stuff there. We just didn't really draw your attention to it at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's go back downstairs. It's time. It's
This-
stairs time.
Just gonna say, this might be like a... this might mean like, hey, whenever you get an item, look at it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You're meant to use it on something and you don't have a code to the thing, use the item, see if the code's written on it.
Now we
It's
know.
important to be thinking about, yeah.
Now we know, and now we'll check. This is fine. It's like the whole, like, knowing that there will be, like, puzzle solutions in the same room, so you have to, like, check the things on the walls. I will check for that now.
Yeah.
And we know.
And it's been real good about keeping the things you need to solve the puzzle around the puzzle.
Absolutely.
Like, you tend not to have to run around for ages to find what you're meant to do. Oh my god, get out of the way of the door.
It's fine, we'll go this way.
Yeah.
No! Okay.
Come.
Panicked, I wasn't sure.
That's
it
a
was
bad
scary.
corridor.
It's a horrible corridor. Terrible. Miserable. It's fine, we're here now. Okay. No. Can I call Rick? Can I call our buddy Rick? Oh. I keep hitting circle to back out, and it's triangle to just, like, back out of a single menu. Circle is all of the menus.
That's a little weird.
Yeah. That's why I keep doing that, though, because I keep trying to hit circle to back out of it, and I just exit out of the menu entirely.
The door looks like it needs 2 people working in tandem to unlock it.
Sit tight. I'll be right there.
I do, it's very tiny, but I like that the, like, communicator on her wrist, like, changes colors depending on if she's talking or the other person is talking.
That's cool.
Ready?
It's just a little detail, and I really like it.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2.
It's red when she's speaking, and green when somebody else is speaking. Okay, you can go now, Gale. Okay, you can go now. I said you can go now! Oh my god. Hey, it's the
I got
Eeyore!
stuff for this, right?
Oh.
Wait, yeah, it's the thing about rows, right?
Yeah, so it's E...
So the first 5 rows don't even matter. Total damage.
Energy!
Oh, nice.
I'm good with letters. You're over here being like, oh yes, it's the columns. I'm like, I got it. It's handled. Solved. Yes! I will save my progress.
The one great at hiding the words in those?
No. Not at all. And I am kind of thankful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, even if you, like, hadn't read the note, like, you need to solve it, it's pretty
can
easy. Just
You
look
can
and see
still
which...
figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Energy. It's also very bad passwords. Let's talk about that. No numbers, no like symbols. Come on.
Password to the laboratory is laboratory.
Come on. Looks like a doctor's journal. Will you read the file? Yes, I will. It is easy to unleash any kind of power. The real task is keeping the power under control. The improvement of the initializer ignition device has enhanced energy efficiency to the maximum. Despite that progress, we have been unable to advance the development of the stabilizer safety valve since the accident that happened 3 years ago. The third energy theory will surely alter human history drastically. But as long as there is an uncertain element regarding the control of this power, even if it is only 0.1% of a probability, my work will be nothing but a terrible failure. The restraining power of the stabilizer we used in tonight's experiment was insufficient. The area affected by the excess energy is estimated to be a radius of 3,300 feet. The result of tonight's experiment may please the military people in a sense. Giant creatures that emerged just after the experiment had given me much inspiration. You mean the dinosaurs? The giant dinosaurs? The most important thing to do right now is to leave here safely. As soon as I finish analyzing the data, I'll evacuate via the bottom floor. Do you mean...
Sometimes you do have to stop doing science and just leave. Right? The dinosaur invasion does normally mean
It means it's time
I'm
to
gonna stop
go.
doing science. Yeah.
Right? Hey, have you considered stopping what you're doing because dinosaurs are here? Hey.
Love science.
Nerds. Dr. Kirk's personal terminal. It is used to analyze data and can be used to release the emergency evacuation hatch. Do that? Do that. Hey.
I got excited when you said that. I thought, are we moving on to like a second area?
Please. Also, farts! Come here.
Fats.
Come here, Farley. Come here. You're looking at me like you want to hop up. I'm gonna pick you up, and you're gonna hate it. But I'm gonna show you off, because you don't come up very often. Hello. It's a big boy. Yeah. It's a big curly body. What are you doing? He says, I'm not impressed. Please put me down. Yeah. I can set you down. So whiny. So whiny. That's you. You're a whiny baby. But he comes back over and immediately demands pets. Hi, sir.
Definitely gonna be too hot for the large lad.
My god, he will be up here for all of 10 minutes, and then he will evacuate.
This is why he's the rare cat.
Yes. It is the time of year where he vanishes now. He's only ever really up here during the winter. Because it's cool. Hey. Barley. You can eat that food, but not the other one. Okay. Alright. Can we... some kind of simulator. There are 3 switches on the panel. Ignite the 3rd energy circuit. Oh, it's alpha, beta. Okay, I see. Set the initializer, set the stabilizer. Which switch will you press? I don't think I'll press anything just yet, actually.
Pressing buttons has done alright for so far.
I mean... fair point.
I don't know.
Did want to see if there were any other notes. But I don't think there are. Can I interact with this? This panel's display/record the working conditions of the simulators. Okay, maybe we do just hit buttons. 3 switches on the panel. Ignite the ignite the energy, set the initializer, set the stabilizer. We probably want to do initializer, energy, stabilizer?
That would make sense.
The initializer has been set. Under the current circumstances, 3rd energy reaction will exceed the overflow limit. System cannot be started. Okay. Then let's do initializer, stabilizer. Okay. That's fine. It pays to just hit buttons.
Orb.
It is orb.
Orb created.
Because there's not enough energy for the simulation, the system cannot be started. Did I...
need to make more electricity.
I broke it.
I thought they were just generating energy out of dinosaurs or something here. Come on.
Okay, well, this computer still doesn't tell us anything. An evacuation hatch for emergencies is securely sealed by several electronic locks. Nothing there. Regina, I don't know that we know what we're doing. I have a feeling that we don't know what we're doing.
He's not here.
Why? This operation is taking way too long already.
What do you mean,
Oh
why?
yeah, 'cause you've been doing so much fucking work, Gail, haven't you?
Yeah, you tell him. Yeah, you tell him.
What's going on?
It's an emergency lockdown.
Kirk must have tripped off the security system. That fool.
What's your status, Regina? I'm reading an emergency lockdown in your section.
We're trapped inside here. Kirk must have triggered it off. We didn't touch anything.
Can you clear it?
I'll see what I can do.
What's wrong with this thing?
The Forbidden Panel said it was for the lockdown, right?
It did. I don't think it's forbidden anymore.
I love that the tools to... The thing you need to get rid of the lockdown is in the room that is locked down.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Not that bad. I think it's not that bad. I think this is doable.
No. No.
Yes, let's...
Ha ha ha. No. Yes?
I think that, yeah. And then for the second one, there's only one place where... I don't know what order to do them, though.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, there's only one place... No. That was wrong, sorry. Oh, nice. Yeah, if you rotate that once, the
So
middle one?
Oh, hold on. Clockwise or counterclockwise?
Right.
That
Yeah,
way?
That right.
Clockwise!
There you go. Okay. Problem is, probably done it in the wrong order, but...
We could... No, wait, go back. It does save them in the direction that we have placed them.
Where's that bottom bit? What's that even
Oh.
on? It's gotta be the one that's down now?
Yeah.
'Cause there's none other that have... So that has to rotate once and then go in? Yeah. I think that's right.
Hold on.
Wait, no, because
Two.
that yeah, that would cover it up. You got
then-
this.
And then...
Sorry, I got hands on for this one.
No, it's okay, because I
That
definitely was
in the
staring...
Matrix stuff.
No,
Sorry,
You
I
did
got
it.
excited. I like puzzles.
that's okay! This is one reason why we're doing it like
Better get
this.
moving.
Help me with the
We're past
puzzles.
the door lock and we're on our way.
A lot of the ones before this, I've just been like, no, I know what the solution is. I got this.
Yeah, you
That
killed
one-
the last star puzzle. I had to step up my game.
Sweat it. I'll
This
take all
one
I
confused
want
me.
if I have to.
Yeah, there were just like so many
So many bits.
possibilities, and so many bits covering up other bits.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, but there's one problem.
What's the problem, Rick?
Password locked through the mother system.
Forget it. If you can't crack the code before the dinosaurs rush in, we'll be completely trapped.
I know. You'll just have to trust me.
I don't.
Fine.
Oh, Gale!
Make it.
Hell, he's a friend.
Come on! I trust Rick.
Yeah.
No, I don't rely on my skill. My skill is bad. I'm a puzzle lady, not a fighter. Yes. I'm gonna save down here in case I Done a terrible option. I think this is where I'm supposed to go. Because Rick wants to work on the hatch.
I think the options just determine like what ending you'll get.
Oh.
But
Well.
yeah, they'll always. I don't know. It's fine.
Okay, can I interact with the computer? Can release the emergency hatch with this computer terminal. Will you operate the terminal? Yes.
Got it. I just cracked into the mother system.
I think the baddie went through the hatch anyway, right? So why would we
Yeah.
not go through the hatch?
Right? Because Gale's afraid of a couple of dinosaurs, which, fair, but also,
His option is to just shoot all the dinosaurs, right?
I think so.
He's afraid of those specific dinosaurs.
Terrible. Horrible. Oh no. Oh no. DFEEC? DFEEC?
Your feet? Nice!
I was gonna say, I don't necessarily think it's spelling anything out, I just think I'm supposed to match it! This is horrible. C... D... I am writing this down now. C... D... CD, 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 CD! F... A... D... CD, CD, fad!
CD fad.
This doesn't look like it's gonna fit! Okay, it's fine.
Oh, this is gonna be 9 the next time though.
Yeah. It's fine, I'll just write them down as...
That's a good cheat.
They
That's a
show
good
up.
hack.
I'm just using what I got! What?!
BC.
BC, okay. I thought I was supposed to like write them all down at the same time. I was like, no. BCCEAE A F. Okay. Is that 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, that's only 8. Oh no.
I think this is the last round because there weren't any more lights on the thing, I'm hoping.
Here's hoping. EAEAF.
Yeah.
No, not back. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rick. I got mad skills. You heard it here first. Yes, I will use the emergency hatch. It's the carrying out room. We love carrying out room.
Hold it.
Not the void. It's Hairman.
We've come to help. We're representatives from your nation's government.
My nation? I'm touched. And what do you government agents want with me?
Shut up. You're coming with us if I have to knock you out and drag you back myself.
Jesus, Gale.
Well, according to the government, I'm officially deceased, correct?
If that's the way you want it, I'd be more than happy to oblige.
Holy shit.
Be, genius.
Girl, the mission's just to rescue him.
Right. Gale, chill.
Magnificent, isn't it?
Down, boy.
But I can't leave before I've analyzed the final results.
To be fair, he is obviously an evil
Bit
sinus.
about your results.
Can you tell because he's got a slight accent?
So shut
Oh
up and
yeah,
follow me.
I'll do it every time.
Okay, communication.
Magic hair and an accent.
You can't
It's the
do
perfect,
this. I have
perfect
plans.
recipe for an evil villain.
Government property, pal. I suggest you take it up with
He's so wiggly.
Shut up.
Yeah, he is.
You lame, flat-top, jaw-headed.
Shut up. Where's the communication room?
No. I think he has a point. I think Dr. Kirk has a point. Gale.
Take the
Please don't. Please don't shoot him.
I need a card to access that elevator.
They're so much quieter than the music. I barely know what's happening. I'm gonna turn it up
That's-
a little bit. Sorry.
Fine.
So, we're all set then. I'll meet you at the heliport.
He's gonna run into the shipment
I have a
container.
little unfinished business to take care of. I'll drop this.
You gonna
guy off
murder
quick.
him?
Now get moving.
Yes. I don't trust Gale with him. Oh jeez. I do remember you saying that like the dinosaurs were significantly louder than everyone else, but the music is also
The mixing in this game's terrible. This is not. Like, the voices are just so much quieter than everything.
It's not. They didn't do a great job, that's for certain. Also,
that's about.
the world may never know. We have been streaming for 2 hours, and I do need to use the bathroom. So shall we take a short break?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Get some water, maybe grab a snack if you need to. Stretch. These are all incredibly important things that everyone should be doing. I'll have words on stream up for folks if they want to mess around with that while we do a break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Everyone look after yourself.
You gotta do it. We gotta. It's the law. Oh. Oh.
I
Oh.
knew the appetite of ghosts intimately. They hungered for revenge. I guess.
Thought there was more to that than that, but nope, that was it. Welcome back. We're here. I do like this just random Max Payne quotes that can happen.
That cartoon moment when gravity waits for the coyote to realize his mistake before the plunge.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Well, to celebrate being back. Got this.
Grip and rape!
2 in 1 stream. 2 from me, I guess. 3, technically.
Mine were a bad fart though,
It
instead
was a bad fart.
instead of a good grip and rip.
Yeah, well, they can't all be nice and crisp. Can't all be winners. No, my other soda is only like halfway done, but it is not cold anymore in the slightest. So I was like, we'll just put that one in the fridge, and I'll start drinking this one, and it's fine. And it's fine. Don't even worry about it. It's fine. We have to get back to Rick, don't we? Because Gale ran off with evil mad scientist.
Gale decided he was gonna do a murder, and he didn't want us to look while he did it.
Yeah. Oh.
Can't murder with you watching.
Oh! I just wanted to take a drink of my drink! I just wanted to take a drink of my drink! That was all!
I thought the video was frozen and the music were on. You were just standing still. I don't know what was going on.
No, I was trying to drink my drink!
That dotting used to be on, right?
It did not. It's now open, which is nice. But
Well, was a dinosaur behind that though, so...
yeah, it's not necessary because I just need to go this way. This is where I came from. Oh god! Hello! Ah! This is fine. Everything is fine. Why are you worried?
Like the
Why
old
are you-
saying, when God closes a door, he sends a dinosaur through the window.
God, why would you do this? Listen.
I'm stuck.
It's facts. We were having a nice time, and then a T-Rex said, "Roar!" And it's like, ugh. Really? What are you doing? We are gonna take these with us, since I cleverly used all of our other ones. Don't have any more resuscitation packs, which is a little sad. But it's fine, I'm sure.
Gamer.com's top 7 strangest food items in Stardew Valley. Number 7, the
Oh, no.
strange bun.
That is a pretty strange item to eat.
Five
Why?
things you didn't know about creepers in Minecraft.
What is gamer.com?
It's horrible clickbait. It's so bad.
Honestly, though. There's a button. Will I press it?
Ooh.
No, I don't think I will. No, I'm gonna press it.
So many
We're pressing
choices. Wait, things you didn't know about Enderman. Why is there so many more things about Enderman than there is Creeper?
Because Endermen are friendermen. We like friends. That's why. Slag bullets! There's more things to know about Enderman, and all 8 of them are that they are friend.
One for each of the 8 pages you need to find to defeat Enderman.
Exactly. That exactly. It is a memo of a recorder! The antenna will be stored temporarily at 9 p.m. tonight due to the experiment. Oh, right, we never messed with the antenna stuff, did we?
We didn't. We knew it was there the whole time, but we couldn't do anything. Wait, we need an antenna key or something?
Yeah. Yeah. I need a plug to open this, and I do not have enough plugs.
We need antenna activation key.
Don't have that. Definitely do not have that. Also, box is printed with the following message. Antenna activation key for emergency use only.
Hey!
That was not planned. I cannot stress enough how not planned that was.
It's just really reading my old notes from the picture on Discord that I sent to Kate.
Beautiful. The electrical field is unstable. Perhaps the antenna is the source of the problem. Perhaps. Yes, I will save my progress. I wish I had a plug for this
Sucks
ammo
that
box.
one only takes 1 as well.
Right? Horrible.
I assumed all the red ones were 2, since the first 2 we found both took 2.
I also assumed. Awful. I know where we are! We're on the outside!
Oh, we're right there!
That's the door we couldn't unlock earlier. Look, this is the antenna room!
I love it when maps link together.
Same! It's a good feeling. That zoom, though. Zoom so good, you get it twice. The activation key has been something. Preparations for antenna activation are complete. Why was that text in a cutscene? It went too fast. That's an antenna. Looks like a funky little chair. It is a small hatch used for antenna maintenance. That's definitely not important. Hi, Devo.
These Enderman facts are fucking terrible. Hey, did
Yeah.
you know that water hurts Enderman? Whoa! Whoa!
Wow!
Did you know that? They get mad if you look at them? Whoa!
Wowie! Oh no.
Explains everything. Apparently Devo didn't know.
Devo doesn't know anything, though. He's a simple, mindless boy. Come here. Nothing going on in there. Come on. Yeah. You're... he, like, you know how cats sometimes will, like, get down low to, like, prepare for a jump? Hi. He did that, and then he just wiggled away. Like, stayed low and then just scooted backwards and then didn't jump up. But now he's here. Now there's a Devo right here. There's his little noggin. Look. Look. Little Devo face. I also love Devo. It's my good, sweet boy.
Biggest goober of all.
He's just a big baby.
A big loud baby.
Yeah. He's love be a big, loud baby. Hi, Devo. You can sit in my lap for a little bit, because it's not nearly as hot as it has been. That sounds like a T-Rex. You are making it a little difficult to play.
Gina, what happened? The emergency lock on the
That might be the T-Rex.
Rick, I can't hear you!
Do something about it.
Don't sweat it. I'll release the lock.
I can barely hear
Rick.
Fruity.
You need to speak up, Rick. There is a Tyrannosaurus here.
Hold on a second. Devo, you gotta get down if you're gonna wiggle. Oh! Oh! How am I supposed to dodge that? This is horrible!
Yeah, this looks like a problem.
Please go through!
What? It wasn't locked before. Who locked this? Gail?
What if we just stun lock him? Okay, that's fine.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that was horrifying!
What?
Gina, do you copy?
Finally, signal.
Oh my god. T-Rex is gonna open that door and just stick his snoot in. Be like, hello, Regina!
Initial plans and pick us up at the heliport immediately.
I kind of like that we're being stalked by a T-Rex, and the only thing keeping us alive is that can't fit inside the building.
Very good!
Get back here and pick us
T-Rex.
up.
T-Rex scary.
Roger, I'm on my way.
T-Rex bad. Oh boy.
Regina, what's your situation?
The chopper's on its way here.
My situation is there's a T-Rex outside.
And remember, use the main entrance to get to the heliport.
Okay, I do actually remember that. Why is... Okay. Music is still like, hey, you're in danger. There is a button. Will you press it? What else would I do in the elevator?
Just look at it.
It's... It's not like I can, like, choose to go to multiple different floors. It just goes to the one place.
Yeah, but you gotta press the button.
But... Yeah, I guess. I suppose. Oh, jeez. Okay, is this... This is the way that I need to go. This is fine. Oh, goodness. Get me out of here. I do like that we go through, like, moments where we save a ton because we have to keep passing through the save rooms. And then there's ages where you don't pass through a save spot and it's just horrible and terrifying.
Yeah. It's a bit weird how they've done the save spots. It
Yeah.
is kind of important to have the, like, threat of losing progress in this kind of game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, it's not like we've necessarily, like, died a
No,
ton.
we haven't even. We've, like, game overed once, and
Yeah.
it gave us a continue, so it was just fine.
Mm-hmm. So it's not too bad. But I definitely would have been stressed out more if it were any other game, like Resident Evil or Silent Hill. Just...
Yeah, where you can use up all your saves and just have to go
Yeah.
miles without...
Yeah.
Resident Evil, like, but first time through, we're always like, you do one, like, experimenting run where you just walk around, see if you can find any items you might need.
Sorry.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
No, there wasn't thought there is. There's a lot going on, I understand.
It spooked me. It's locked! Please! Oh
Who's
god!
locking all these?
Why are we locking the doors? You fools!
They can't do handles. You don't need to lock them.
Iron container, it's too heavy to move. Maybe I could move it if it were a smaller wooden box. Okay, but
How do we shrink the box?
Are you-
Is there a shrink ray on this facility?
These are the
Oh.
smaller wooden boxes. I was trying to figure out if I was looking at the big one or the little one. Stop pushing it, Regina. What were we saying? Resident Evil trial
Yeah.
runs.
Yeah, you do like a trial run and then you load the save and you go back and you only spend the resources you need to spend. You
Right?
pick up all the items that you need.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it's not like I really like the games and you do like feel like you've just mastered the space when you finish them. Like
Mm-hmm.
part of the reason the newer Resident Evil games focus so much on like time trials and stuff for things for you to be doing is because I think in the old school games, everyone realized like, hey, the second time through is just so much
easier.
fun. It's so much easier. You just
Mhm.
remember all the things because you spent so much time in the space.
Right? Again, as somebody who like doesn't necessarily like doing speedruns, I like speedrunning Resident Evil. Because it is like, I mean, it's definitely like a lot easier, but it's also just it is so much fun to do.
It's nice to go back through and like feel like you, rather than just being lost and confused and scared. Yeah, you're like in control of in control.
Mhm.
You know what you need to do. And
You got your bearings. You know what's happening.
yeah.
Good. It's good. I might have messed this up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm gonna go up here because there's an item up here. It's fine. The music tells me I should panic, but I don't think I need to panic.
How do we reset crits?
But I want.
We have a grenade gun, but we can't hold the grenade bullets. If we got an anode, we can
I
yeet.
think we do. So let me mix up. We do have an N-aid. Can I? I can't mix up with the poison dart. That's tragic.
That'd be cool, though.
That would be very cool. Can we? That's not gonna help our situation at all.
No. It's gonna make lots. Can we throw it away?
We could. You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna mix it with this. Never mind, I can't. Yeah, let's just get rid of it.
This is horrible. Okay, mixing it. This is fine.
This only gives us 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
okay.
got it.
Okay. There
Grenade
we go. There we go. All right. Yeah. Now, how do we reset this? Is it this little panel here?
Is there a little panel?
Is it you?
Otherwise we might have to go out and come back in and there's dinosaurs out.
This is horrible. It's cloudy with a chance of dinosaur. Oh no. Okay, this is actually fine. Dinosaurs are further down the hallway now.
Nice.
Not a problem. Okay, can I push this one? And then this one.
Which tile can't we push them onto?
I don't
This
know.
looks wrong.
This does look wrong. I'm gonna continue with it though. Maybe. Regina, please. Can't? Okay. Okay. That's fine. That's fine, actually. I can only push things the once. I understand.
Oh, that's horrible.
Okay. This does make things make more sense to me. So I think we'll push...
Yeah, that's why you couldn't get past at the end last time.
Yeah. So we'll
It's not because of the weird area or flaw you just banned from. It's 'cause
I
you
thought
can only
I
push
definitely
once.
thought I was that. We can only push
Yeah.
once though. So we'll push the one that we started out with, and then we'll push this one in, and then we'll push this crate down.
Why
And then
down?
so that I can get in here? Maybe. No. I don't know. Well, oh god. It's fine. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we got real good at puzzles. We're geniuses over here.
We're actually...
Toy geniuses.
Oh no. Okay.
I'm not sure about that one.
What else am I
I don't trust that box.
Yeah, no. Okay.
I think I got it.
We get in the way that we originally got in?
Yeah.
Way back when? Oh, okay.
So this first bit is kind of unintuitive because you can run around just the very top of the box, which it doesn't look like you should be able to do. Like, you don't go all the way to the wall, it leaves a tiny gap.
Yeah.
Don't approve of that.
Thought she was gonna keep pushing it, and I was like, Regina, stop. Okay,
So
and
she pushed.
then...
Top one in the middle. Wait. Top one in the middle, one down.
Okay, yeah. No, Regina!
No! Regina! She wasn't listening.
So you just have to walk up against the side of the crate.
But sometimes she just slides along it instead of pushing it.
Yep. If you don't angle yourself just right, you will slide across the box instead of pushing it along. Hi, llama. My hot cat.
Oh, hot cat.
You good? She says I'm stretching out on the floor. Cannot stop me. No, don't. Okay, no more running in here. I've decided. Not allowed to run anymore. Hi, kitten. What are you doing?
Been excised from the turbo team.
I have to walk slowly. Cannot run, please. Okay.
Okay.
I had to run a little bit, just a tiny bit. I hear Devo.
The cats are too hot. I got a lot to yell about.
Yeah. I see. No, I see what we do. We push.
Yeah.
Then we push this one down, and then we
Yeah.
push the crate on the far right, on the bottom in, and then push the
Yeah.
other crate up.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. There's too much other visual data to understand before, but I understand now. Alright. It's a good thing we're not timed. It's a good thing there's no timer. Unless there's a secret timer, and then the T-Rex busts in and ruins our day.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Right before we get to the door. I can run now. I don't have to walk anymore. No! No! Yes, I will take the grenade bullets. Maintenance tools used in the hangar. Oh, hiccups. Okay, now we can leave. Now it is time to go.
Yeah.
Oh, the bad
Oh,
flashing is
Weird
back.
cutscene.
You okay, Regina?
Where's Gale?
Don't point it out. I don't think anyone will
I haven't
notice.
heard a word from
Oh,
him.
you're right.
What's he doing?
That's actually part of the thing. It's an aesthetic choice.
Lots of games did this back in the day.
Finally. You know, I had a really bad feeling about this.
Oh,
All
ow.
things considered, it could have been
Oh,
a
no.
lot
Don't
worse.
don't Don't hiccup while you're trying to drink something.
Oh dear.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Something
Oof.
about those animals spooked.
Is it the T-Rex that's stomping around? It's the T-Rex that's stomping around. Oh my god. Look at that dinosaur!
Look at that large boy.
So good. I'm gonna have to fight this large boy, aren't I? This is fine! Get fucked, Gale!
Oh no. Dinosaur ate your ride.
Oh, there goes Kirk. Look at his stumpy little arms. Do you think now's the time to use that sleep dart?
Could be. The poison dart.
Where is it? There it is. Let's hope I don't fucking miss.
Mr. Hammond, upon further consideration, I've decided not to invest in your path. I think that hit him. Hopefully he took a chunk out of him. Hey, I think this might be why he gave us the grenade gun, though.
You think? I think it's grenade gun time. Cause if not now, then when? I am scared that if I use it, it will hurt me a lot.
Possible.
So...
Just don't hit yourself, it's fine. Resident Evil grenade launcher is very kind and barely ever hurts you, and even when it does, it only does a tiny bit of damage.
Regina...
This is just Resident Evil with a T-Rex, it's fine. Boss fights like this always suck in these fixed camera games because it's so hard to like tell when you save to fire.
Right? Okay, I am gonna use this. Ah! It doesn't do anything to the boy!
Can we leave? It seems like we're probably
Oh,
not
God.
meant to. Yeah, that one he got.
That one I just aimed completely incorrectly for. I appreciate that she reloads every time and I don't have to tell her to, but also, can we not? There's a dinosaur trying to eat us! Regina. I'm out of bullets! Oh, we're hurting. Oh, we're hurting. Oh, we're hurting. More destructive than SG bullets. Okay. Good.
We need the most destructive bullets we can manage right now, I think.
Right? Please. You.
Nice.
Okay. I don't know where over here is, Rick. Here's the thing.
Someone come to door and we should leave.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This T-Rex has really long legs, though.
Yeah.
He's not very fast, but he does have long legs.
How are we gonna get out of here?
We live here now, Rick.
Just have to find another way.
Oh, come off it. You're never this positive.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
T-Rex. T-Rex happened. Elevator broke.
Elevator shut. We'll have to find another way.
T-Rex ate all the wires.
T-Rex. It's not for T-Rexes. Don't eat the wires. Probably ate it, was like, spicy.
You thought it was spaghetti.
It's actually worms?
I thought it was biscuit, sorry.
Do you like biscotti?
Oh no, the chickens are here!
Ah! Ah!
Oh god!
Get out of here,
I didn't even do
chickens.
anything.
There was a shifty looking shaft back there.
Yeah,
But I
see
did
it.
run past it. Maybe we'll go back.
This whole facility's probably held together with tape and glue.
Duct tape and hope!
But it'll take some time.
That's exactly our vibe.
We are here for it. Alright, it's gonna take him a while to fix it. I understand. Let's go back to that shifty shaft. Chickens are in the way.
Adding the shaft.
Please. Please, chickens. I hear things.
More copies?
Maybe. Shelves to store something on the floor. There's a thing. Okay, never mind. This is fine. Do you think handgun would work well against?
If handgun works on these, then we have found a use for the handgun because it doesn't work on anything else.
That is true. I just don't want to like. I don't want to waste my. I mean, I'm planning on just running past them most of the time,
Yeah.
but I feel like we might have an issue with numbers at some point. Yeah.
That's what the handgun's for.
Understood. Without this pass card, you will not be able to access all of the floors. Got the CEO pass card, so I can access all the floors now, is what I'm hearing. You fucking nerds.
I think when you kill one, another one appears, but
That does seem to be what is happening. We can
not great, is it?
temporarily,
not ideal.
temporarily thin out the numbers if we gotta.
If you
This
got
is
like
fine.
fully stuck in behind them,
Mhm.
you could kill one to get out.
Yeah,
Otherwise, there's not really any point because it just makes another.
yeah. He's repairing the elevator. Okay. Great. Hey Rick, I don't have anywhere else I can go. So like, you want to fix that faster? Consider?
Can you talk to Rick?
No. I tried to and it just said that he was trying to fix the elevator. So maybe we go back over here. Maybe we check out this elevator. It's damaged and will not open. Yeah?
I think I know what to do.
Oh?
I think on the dead scientist there's a note. If we haven't read it, well, let us go. Further.
That makes sense. Oh god, oh god, oh god. I was gonna go back and check. So what else are we supposed to do? Thank you for waiting. Oh,
Oh.
there's a... Okay. Dead man left a memo. Will
Okay,
you
that don't
read
even
it?
look like a note. That would have been tricky to work out.
Also, I'm pretty sure that this is the same model that they used for Tom, because he's got the same Uzi.
Does have the Uzi, I didn't even see. Tom, you survived your injuries and then came and died over here anyway.
Where the heck did these monsters come from? I mean, I just slip away, but I've been cornered here in the basement ever since. The only way I can get out is through the port on level B3. Should be able to find a boat or something used. Or something used to transport research materials. The only problem is getting there in one piece. Okay, bye.
I do love those little jumping boys.
Same.
Those little tiny gexes.
Not the Gagses. I remember that they are in Jurassic Park 2. And they
Yeah.
scared the shit out of me as a child. And I think it was just because that little girl tried to offer them a sandwich and they just said, no, I'm gonna eat you now. And there was something about that that just struck fear
She sees
into
one
me.
and she's like, hey, little guy, do you want a sandwich? And she gives him a little bit of a sandwich, and it's great. And then there's like 3 come, and she gives them all a piece, and then there's like 1,000.
Yeah.
And then they decide they want all the sandwich, and then they decide they're still hungry.
They decide that the little girl is the sandwich now. Yeah, no, it scared the bejeebus out of me as a kid. Like, to the point that I never finished. Like, I didn't watch Jurassic Park 2 all the way through until I was, like, a grown-ass adult.
That scene at the start saved you from having to watch Jurassic Park 2.
It's true. But now I know the joy of watching Jeff Goldblum run around with a baby dinosaur in his arms.
It has a lot of Jeff Goldblum, so it's hard to say, like, the film isn't worth watching, but...
You watch it for Jeff Goldblum, not for anything else.
Yeah, you just want to see that. You just want to be looking at Jeff Goldblum for a long time. Watch Jurassic Park 2. Do not, under any circumstances, watch Jurassic Park 3.
This piece of junk must have blown a fuse.
I used to really like Jurassic Park 3, but I was an idiot child.
All I ever remember is that there's the best kid who collects dinosaur piss and uses it to scare off the dinosaurs.
Yes!
All I remember.
What a good movie. It's not good.
Yeah, the first one's good, all the other ones are terrible.
Just watch the first one and nothing else.
Yeah.
Don't even waste your time with the new ones.
We don't need to see the ones with Chris Pratt in them.
Mm-mm.
No one needs to see Chris Pratt.
Listen, his last name is Pratt, so, like, that's all you need to know.
Bloody dumb. He's horrible, though.
It's horrible, though. Worst of the worst.
This battery's completely dead.
Oh. If we find a replacement battery, I can fix that. Listen, Rick, I'm good at these puzzles. Rick, listen. Yeah, I'll take those slag bullets. Yeah, but we have 20 slag bullets.
Nice. We
This
used
is
a bunch from the T-Rex.
I think I might have accidentally just used
Ah,
the regular.
That's fine. We dealt with the T-Rex.
Because looking at it, I only have 5 shotgun bullets.
I think it were one of those, like, Resident Evil timer fights anyway, where, like, there's an enemy you can't beat, but if you damage them, the amount of time you have to survive is reduced.
Yeah.
You just gotta hang in there.
That's what we did. Oh, more things. No. Grab the things. Yeah, I'll take the grenade bullets! Because I wasted all of mine earlier. Got 3 out of 6. Something extraordinarily powerful smashed into the shutter from the other side. There may have been some sort of explosion involved since it smells of gasoline.
Either that or the T-Rex just eats gasoline.
maybe the
Gas-powered
T-Rex runs on diesel.
Yeah.
Diesel-powered T-Rex. The door will not move because the generator to supply power to open the door is out. This is how we're reading all of these from here on out.
I like it.
Good. Alright. Where the heck is the staying battery? It's also, yeah, the door will not move because the generator to supply power to open the door is out. I understand. I figured, but I thought I would try, because if I didn't, that would have been where I needed to go. Here. Backup generator room B3! Let's go!
Nice.
There will be a dinosaur that jumps out at me, though. I am waiting for it.
Nah, I think we've got past all the dinosaurs now.
Are you sure? You will need a key card that is level C or higher to operate this device. Will you remove the battery? Yes. Good little squeak sound. Before we fully leave, though, there's nothing there. And that's where we got the battery. Okay.
I thought there was definitely going to be a raptor jumping out at some point, though.
I am steeling myself against raptor jumps. They will still scare me, though, because they're scary.
Perfect. This is all we need to restore the power. All
Yeah. You'll what? Rick, you'll what?
Is Rick going to do the puzzle?
Oh, puzzle's already done. That's sad. I was looking forward to it. I like those puzzles.
security system.
The raptors are learning. They must have solved that puzzle.
Oh no. Alright. Well, Rick went the other way. So I would like to go this way. I need the CO area key to open this door. It's a good thing I got it.
I forgot we had that. Wait, we gonna...
Excuse me?
Is an area key not a pass card? It does have a lot of items that are named extremely similar things.
That is true.
Maybe we're still hanging out with Rick. It's fine, we like Rick.
We do like Rick, but I thought I was gonna be clever and check out things that he wasn't checking out.
That's fair.
That is not the case. Oh well. Oh.
Best thing about Rick is that it's not Kale.
It is this true. Oh, poor guy. B3 crane card. B3 crane card 2.
Oh no.
Apparently it cannot be used for the crane on the B1 floor. Yeah, because it's the B3 crane card 2. Why is that so difficult to say? Also,
I think we need plug.
I do have
Plug, please.
Oh, I don't have a plug.
Plug,
Plug,
please.
please.
Plug him.
Plug, please.
Wood, please.
You need to play more Age of Empires.
Dude, we gotta teach them the ways.
It's true. Looks like a staff memo. Will you read the memo? Attention, Alan. The weapon container at the general weapon storage will be carried out from the port next week. Please finish the maintenance of the crane within the week. I will. Oh.
Dodgy.
I will hand you the DDK to enter the port so that you can finish the job. Make sure that you keep it on you at all times. Let me guess. Doesn't keep it on him at all times. It's a computer terminal for controlling the security of this area. Great. Will you save your progress? Yes. I would also like a plug, though.
Please, plug.
Plug, please.
It's a good time for a plug, I think.
Honestly, we've passed so many containers.
Very stingy with these.
Only had 3 of them.
Yeah.
Only 3 plugs. And there's been like 6. That is half a man. There's been like 6 containers. What are you? No, this is horrible.
New guy just dropped.
Inventory full. There isn't enough space to hold the resuscitation.
All these fucking anids that we can't put in the box because there's no plugs.
Honestly, I
Stop
can't
with the
combine.
anids. We don't want them.
Yes.
Um,
No! Oh, there's 2 of them!
that looks like a problem.
Sir! You can't! You can't just throw me in the corner like this!
Well, it's a good thing we picked up the resuscitation. Okay. Okay, we got hunters in the Spencer mansion now. This is fine.
I didn't pick up the card that's in there.
This is fine. You could reset to get the resuscitation back.
I was gonna exit to the main menu. And yeah. We can reload. Do you have to pick up the resuscitation again? But there is no
That's
but.
fine. Send you back anyway.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Gotta look after your resources in these games.
Honestly, if I hadn't gotten pinned in the fucking corner, let's do this first.
Oh yeah, the fucking anids.
They are the bane of our existence. And maybe
Could only put them in the locker, but there's no plugs.
plugs. Screaming. Just constant screaming. I am screaming. Yeah, let's just casually equip the shotgun with some sleep darts and maybe pick this up now? Horrible. And I have to get over there and grab that. I have to grab that.
There are gonna be 2 guys, and it's gonna be a little tricky to go over there and grab that. No.
But I do have sleep darts. I got the large sleep darts ready. Oh wait, I can't because I have to do the crane. I understand. Please, why weren't you shooting? Regina, honey. Oh my god. Please.
Oh,
This is
Jesus.
horrible. There is no time.
Yeah,
The
he's fucking hard.
The second you get hit, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, let's...
This is the run.
We're just gonna keep doing this.
I'm gonna run to the loo. I'll just be a second.
Do it. Do the thing. This is fine. I have to redo the stupid N-aid bullshit. Gotta do an N-aid and pick up the resuscitation, and maybe we just ignore the dinosaurs and just go up the ladder. Something tells me they can't climb. I'm going to find out that they can climb, and it's going to be horrific, and I'm going to be very upset about it. But you know what? That's okay. I'm still gonna do these. Because we can. Maybe we go in here, and then we turn around. You know what? No. Let's do this. We inventory manage. We pick up the resuscitation kit.
I'm back.
We turn around. Welcome back. We go back through door.
And save again.
And then we save again so I don't have to keep doing the N-aid nonsense and or picking up the resuscitation kit. Just, yeah.
Did you like Ghostwire Tokyo?
I did like Ghostwire Tokyo.
TheGamer.com
Oh no.
thinks you can change your opinion on Ghostwire Tokyo, okay?
Towards me not liking it?
Yeah, with these 7 things that make no sense in Ghostwire Tokyo.
What are the 7 things? Give them to me. Let's go. And I'll tell you why they're wrong. Let's
So
go.
number 7 is dogs digging for coins.
It's a great mechanic, and you get a break.
Dogs don't do that. They don't know about money. They don't care about currency.
Dogs also
can dig
don't.
through any surface, even if it's concrete.
Dogs don't talk, and yet they talk. Oh god. Oh fuck.
That might be later on the list. That's spoilers.
Okay.
There, what you just done.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Number 6 is Ed's phone recordings.
What's wrong with them?
I don't know what that means.
So
Someone always knows what to say to you, despite not knowing who you are or what you've actually managed to accomplish up to this point. How does he know?
Cause he puts them there after you've done the things. No, listen, it's fine. It makes sense in the game. I need 3 crane cards to move this crane?
What?
Why? I have 1 and 2.
He's the third on the man.
How am I supposed to get to man if man is behind the boxes I'm supposed to move with crane?
Oh. Oh? I thought the dinosaur came from man.
No, crane dropped box in front of man. Dinosaur came from area with other boxes.
Oh yeah.
So this is not great because I'm pretty sure they're at the bottom of this ladder.
Yeah, that would be so ideal.
We're fine, actually. Actually, we're fine. Actually, we're not fine.
As long as you don't get grabbed, that gives them too much time to... Oh my god, are you kidding? You have to fall over, so you've been shot with a sleep dart.
The one fell over,
Jesus.
the other hasn't. Okay, no, I can do this. This is
He's
manageable.
tough as shit.
They're horrible, but I've got this. I think I got this. I'm fine with using the resuscitation kit here. Maybe. Yeah. No. No, I will not save my progress. Okay. Do I have to go through the cutscene again? Because if I do, then I am resetting. We're resetting. Stop.
That's fine.
Stop. Because I figured I wouldn't have to, but I do.
Yeah, it don't really make sense.
What
I
if I
thought
get-
it was just a revive. I didn't think it was sending us back in time.
Right? I'm gonna let myself get crushed. LOL!
That is very good.
I like it. No, not continue! Unless... No, it's in supplies.
No.
Okay, that's fine. Oh my god, I'm just gonna hit every incorrect button. It's fine.
Thing number 5 is that visitors can't see through windows.
That's because they don't have eyeballs! So they can't see, period! Next!
Okay, okay, maybe we need to contact thegamer.com and tell them to scrub that one.
You're incorrect. You've done it bad. Listen, none of the visitors have eyeballs.
Number 4 is that visitors like standing with their backs turned. What's that about? Why
They're
are
busy
they all...
They're busy looking at other things. And by looking, I mean sensing.
In the picture they've put on the article, he's like looking at a magazine rack. It's like fairly obvious they just look at human stuff.
Yeah! Yeah!
Like I could probably have told that just from the screenshot, not having seen the game.
They're just doing their thing! Turn around. Turn around. No! Regina! Regina, you fool! Get up! Why weren't you getting up?
It's horrible. It's not messing around now. We found... They say this is a hard game.
They were not lying. Also, that other dinosaur phased through the wall. Like, it spawned in through the wall. These dinosaurs are impossible. We're just gonna keep hearing this terrible T-Rex scream. We're gonna have to keep going through this awful cutscene. It's
Because
fine.
they don't even bother fighting the dinosaurs. They're just too tough.
But what else am I supposed to do?
Oh,
I'm
you
not
can
even
go
trying
through the show.
Okay. Okay, maybe we do that then. But I want that
Okay.
key card.
This is obfuscation. Like, it gives us, it points the item out to us, and then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
they go a completely different way.
Yeah. Okay. 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 I just want that. I want that item though.
What did the guy say about this? Oh, jeez.
No, I was trying to go through door. No, I'm trying to go through door. Okay, I guess I'm going through this door. Get up, Regina.
Ah! They do so much damage!
Regina. They do more damage than the fucking T-Rex.
They do. It's like a 3-hit kill, if that. It's like a 3-hit kill, but they get one of the hits for free because they knock you down and then hit you again.
These are the worst. You bastard. I need a level 8 key. I need a level 8 key. I can't go anywhere. There's nowhere in here for me to go. Please. This is horrible. I can't go through the shutter. There's nowhere here to go.
Oh no.
No. Where do I go? No! Aim at the dinosaur that's up! Aim at the up dinosaur, Regina!
Regina.
I'm not dead! How am I not dead? I'm dead now. I couldn't run away. I ran as soon as I was able to. I couldn't run away though.
You gotta pause the game instantly as soon as you stand up and use a medkit. I think.
Honestly. Oh my god. Oh
It says on the guide, if you go through the shot, there is the final cranky on top of a truck.
Okay. Okay. But there's also a dinosaur in here.
There is also a dinosaur.
Where is he? No! Regina! There it is. Oh my god. No, that's a CO key. There's- no, it's right there! Regina, please!
It's fine, we got this.
Ah!
Good video, guys. This isn't horrifying at all. It's fine, actually.
Okay, you know what? I think we're gonna reset because I did use my resuscitation kit for that.
That's
So
We're right by the checkpoint. This is all fair. We gotta look after those resources.
right,
And we're probably
Knowing-
gonna have to use some stealth running into these guys again later.
honestly, and I think that's the only reason why I'm like I'm just gonna keep resetting until I get through with my stuff intact. Especially since I can just run through, knock out that other dinosaur, pass the shutter, grab the keys, and then run back in. Oh, hiccups. Let's go.
Apparently these guys are only at the later stages of the game. We're getting through it.
Oh, dang! We're gonna finish this next weekend, then!
I think so.
Oh, dang. I was expecting this to take, like, way longer. honestly.
I did hear it was relatively short.
Alright.
There is a sequel if we're digging this one.
There is, and I might be down for that. There we go. Get out of here. Piece of shit dinosaur.
It's not too bad if you can identify where they're coming from and you have enough space to aim and shoot.
Right?
But
The trick is...
the camera is very unhelpful in this.
Didn't sound like there are dinosaurs in here. Why is the music gone? That's almost
So we
more...
can do the crane puzzle.
Maybe. But that makes me more uncomfortable than knowing that they're there. Okay, well, it's a good thing we got 3 crane cards then.
Game don't make us put all 3 crane cards in one attack. Thank you.
It's not going to. Okay, we want to... Ugh, I don't want to do any of these things, actually.
Yeah, this is... What ones can we even grab?
I imagine the 2 at the bottom and the 2 in the middle.
I meant, like, which ones can we get over with the cards that we've got?
Oh. That's a good question. What if I go over to... Up 3... Over to...
Thing you've got
down
in one move.
And then hook. Sometimes
Hey,
I just
that
have to,
might
like...
do it.
I think it might do it. Sometimes I just need to pause and just look at what I'm doing as opposed to just being upset about a thing.
A minute to not be... Where we're not being eaten by dinosaurs.
I've done it in a circle. Okay, no, that's fine. Over to... Up 3...
This should do it, right? Why did it go down 2 instead of down 1?
I don't know.
Because there is no down 2.
Yeah. Will it not let me just pick up the crate? Or has it gone back further than I thought it would?
Yeah, there's nothing in that spot. I understand.
Okay, yeah.
3's really far away.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Turns out.
Okay, can I... Over 2...
This is tricky.
Excuse me.
So we can't touch the 2 above us. Like, there's no way to, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that is correct.
We can't stop on that row.
So we could... The going up,
I can't
going
even
up
see
is...
the ones on the top row.
Let's
Is
just
it
do
too
this
far
real
away?
fast. Let's just do this real fast so we can see what we got up here.
Okay.
1 in the center, 1 on the far right. So if I could, over to up 3, hook, over to... Hold on, where does that put me? Shit.
I think that's right above the other one.
Yeah.
One that we can see the bottom of. Just now.
What if we just do this? Or we just pick it up, and then I figure out where to put it from there. Will it let me do that? Yes, it will.
Oh, Oh, that's smart. We can just dump it in the corner or something now.
Yeah. So we'll go.
Or is that where the lift is? Where the ladder is? Do we need there to not be a crate there?
That's a good question. I mean, I can technically just drop it here.
Yeah, that's.
Let's just put it there. And then we'll grab. Thinking, contemplating, considering.
I think the only ones we can really touch are like the one on the top and the two on the furthest right.
Yeah.
So I think we need to move all 4 of those out of the way, including the one you've already done.
Yeah. So I'm trying to go for the one in the top right corner, not the top right corner of the screen that we can see. So if we go up 3, over 2,
Yeah.
down 1,
Yeah, I
that
think
should
you've hooked
grab
it.
that. And then, do you think I should move that under? I should move that under the top one. So over 2, drop,
Yeah, I'll get out of the way.
start. And then we'll grab that top one.
I think we
No.
could grab the top one and just yeet it into the left corner.
Yeah.
There is a thing, there's like a doorway over there. No, they both lead to the same place, right? And even if they don't, we can move it later.
Mm-hmm. So oop,
I think you got this.
up 3, hook. I could also move it. Over 2?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I was thinking
We
about
should-
moving it down 1, but there's no.
That'd probably mean it's not in the way of any. But then we won't be able to go through, or do I? I got.
Yeah,
I'm over you.
yeah, so we'll put it in the top left corner like you first suggested. I was trying to think of a way for me to do this without having to move a bunch of shit afterwards, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So that's fine. We'll put this here. JK, we're not putting it there, apparently.
Oh.
It won't
Okay.
let me. Well, this complicates things a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
What if we put it back? What if we put it back? What if we just put it back real quick?
Can't do anything with the second to top row, right? No, the third to top row. We can't reach there. There's no way to do it.
Correct.
I don't think we can.
Over to up
And then
3.
Microsoft Paint out.
Down 1 over 2. Hook. Over 2. Up 3. Down 1. Release. Let me see if I can put it in the middle section. Or one of the middle sections, I should say.
Oh yeah, there's 2 sections there. Of course we can get past.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So then...
Yeah,
Shit.
I think you got this. Just the top one where that one was, and then you can just pick up the last one and hold it.
Yeah. Okay,
Just be
up
cheeky.
3. Hook. Down 1. Release. Okay, we got this.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes it just takes me a minute to, like, have to stare at everything.
No, it's
Oh,
fair, and it's a
jeez.
good time for a puzzle that takes a minute, right after we've just met those new dinosaurs.
Right?
Let's
Oh
just
my
not be in that
goodness.
situation for a minute.
Oh my goodness. Alright, there we go.
I had got paint out to try and work out what spaces we could reach and what spaces we couldn't.
It's the wire wolves all over again. That puzzle.
That one was that I don't have a problem with how that puzzle that we just did was designed. The
No.
werewolf there were many problems with.
Wire wolves was awful. This one was manageable though.
Yeah,
Okay.
all the information was right there on the screen.
Right? Can
Didn't
easily
need to
look
turn the
at-
lights off to do it.
Right. Very good.
The problem with the werewolves one was that you couldn't interact with the puzzle from a position where you could see the whole puzzle.
Right? Like, yeah, had they just, like, narrowed it down to even just 2 walls, it would have been fine. But it was, like, 3, if not 4 distinct walls that you had to interact with, and none of them, you couldn't view all of them from a single location. It was horrible. Why am I going back up here?
For the solution, you had to turn the lights off for a second as well. It's just like you just couldn't get enough of the information at once to work out what you were even doing a lot of the time.
Right? Oh, it was
One until we'd
bad.
like drawn everything out on paint, where you could tell like, oh, this switch is doing that.
So bad. It
Oh,
was
I got
so
it now.
bad. Was not great. Okay. What are we doing here? Graph that shows the status of this.
Wait, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Main
The main
setback.
setback we had on that last one was when I decided we'd block the door if we did the thing, so we couldn't possibly do the solution.
I also was not accounting for the fact that there were 2 middle sections. It was a group effort. It's fine. It's fine. We got through it, and we didn't take that long on it either. And it was a good, like, forced cooldown post bad new dinosaurs. So hey. Okay, I have new items. Check. Without this pass card, you will not be able to access all of the floors. Enables access to the B3 floor from the CO area. I did it again. Okay. We have area key pass card. Oh my god. And input disk W. Okay, so we can access. I see. It is telling me where I can go. Understood. Yes, let me save, please. Actually, before I save over 1, have I used my resuscitation kit? I haven't, right?
I don't think you did on this run.
Okay.
No,
I'm still
you
gonna
do. You handled it pretty comfortably this run.
We knew what
Just
we
ran
were
right
doing
through,
this time.
guided the one, and then the other 2 had gone when you went back in the room.
Okay, we do have the resuscitation kit. I figured,
Yeah.
but I wanted to make sure before I, like, saved over our good save. We did it good! Died so many times in there I couldn't remember.
We loaded a bit, but we were right by a save room, and it was sending us all the
Yeah.
way back anyway. Like,
Yeah.
all you were losing by loading was like 5 extra seconds each time.
Right, nah, it was worth it. Not even mad about it. It's a good
I'm worried that all the raptors are these now.
Same.
'Cause they're a little bit worse.
Yeah. Oh my god. No!
Multiply sounds good, but we're gonna have to leave it for now.
Yeah.
It's probably something we mix with things anyway. We just don't have the plugs.
I need plugs. Oh god. I'm scared. We got...
I did do a music sting when you came in.
It's fine, we have a map now. Great.
Nice.
Okay, so I can only go through this door? And then there should be stairs. Yeah, central stairway. No!
Game, the dinosaurs are too large to block all of your corridors. Oh, nice.
Ah. And now we can use some of the sleep darts that we have, so we have some more space. I don't think I've got enough space just yet.
I'm sure right is. Is that a raptor?
That
That
sounds
a
like
raptor noise?
That sounds like a raptor, not an anaid.
Fucking anaid.
Okay,
Oh god.
hold on. I did, but that's because I can mix it with a thing.
Okay.
Because we have small darts, and that's going to fill up some of our other darts. But this will give us large darts, and we will still have a space available.
Yeah. No,
No.
but we will if we fire one more dart.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
it's because he didn't stack them properly. Game.
It's okay. It's fine.
Come
And
on, game.
I can't organize our thing. It's fine. It's fine.
Just put it in the stack, game.
It's fine. Oh, lady.
Oh jeez.
That's kind of a cool angle. I kind of liked that.
That was cool.
What is this? Terminal manages the information of the key chips. You can input data to a key chip here. Okay, well, before I grab that key that is floating over there. Warning. Subject unknown. Suspected of possessing firearms. Access to other rooms are denied. Am I suspect?
My firearms?
Am I in possession of firearms? File of notice messages. Will you read the file? Since we are going to move the experimental generator outside today, we expect to see external staff within the test area. As a final reminder, if the overload occurs in this laboratory, it will mean the obliteration of the entire facility. That's not great! If you don't want to be evaporated, guard the area with extreme caution today. The staff has been working double overtime recently. Dr. Kirk in particular has locked himself in his private quarters for nearly a week. Nobody has seen him. Take good care of the researchers and remember that the experiment's success depends upon their ability to think. Recently, the credibility gap of Dr. Kirk has been varied among the staff. Keep your eyes on the ID rewriting device here to prevent illicit use. There's been an instance of someone abusing the rewriting device on the first floor. Keep your eyes open. Okay.
Just, hey, we think that our boss is crazy and trying to kill everyone. And
I'm sure it's fine. Can I use this on you?
oh, nice.
There's data stored in the fingerprint collecting device. Overwrite the data? Yes. Fingerprint data has been collected. She had a chip thing that we could overwrite, so I figured...
Nice.
figured
She
I
got,
had to-
she got a number on it.
Potentially.
We need a number as well.
Yeah.
We do have a number, but we have no idea who it was for.
Yeah. Do you have... Her throat has been crushed. Nope. Okay.
Is there a number in the throat?
I got a plug.
Look.
Are plugs just
There you go.
hiding? Is that why I haven't found enough plugs? Device that can
Could
rewrite the
be.
data. That's rude and mean.
Yes.
That is rude and cruel. These names of the people who have entered the room. Okay, what are their names? Please.
Do they also have numbers associated with the names?
Oh. Got code disc S. I'm gonna try that other number that we had, because I don't know what else to try at the moment. Okay, No. I need another key chip.
Okay.
Right? Right?
Looks like it.
I don't have one. So...
Can't remember what we did with the key chip last time. Oh, also, can you get the key chip back? Does it have the number on it?
Oh, right.
Just to be thorough. After
know.
last time.
Yeah, let's not have a repeat. There is no writing carved
okay.
into the usual place. Data needs rewriting.
No numbers written on it. Understood.
Okay. But we have checked.
Yes,
So
we've checked
that's
now.
good. Hold on. Let me look at my map and see if it wants me to go anywhere specific, or if we just
Is
need
this
to
another
wander
save
around.
room?
It is.
Well, there's a door at the other end, apparently.
Yes. But it is locked, but there is a vent.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
No, it's okay.
I thought red meant where we're supposed to go for some reason instead of locked.
Flashing red means that's where we're supposed to go.
Okay.
Yes, I would like to save. And we'll save over the first spot. This is fine because we are starting to get close to the end of stream, but I want to wander around a little bit more. But I don't want to wander too much. Because, like, this is a good place to, like, stop. We're still trying to figure out, like, what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
But I want to know what's up here. Oh. Glides along those walls. Real nice. Where does this go? Not mix. Someplace we don't know. Great. Love that for me. I am ready to hit X if there's a fucking dinosaur in here.
There's a dinosaur an inch away when you drop down. There's
And/or
gotta be
shooting.
dinosaurs around, but I don't hear anything. Okay, I now hear things.
Fuck! I didn't mean to do that. How is my inventory full?
Because the
Listen.
things don't stack properly and it's using the 2 stack up and not the... I think a green would be better than a red because you can hold darts in it. But
Yeah,
we haven't got the stuff out of yellow yet.
that is true. But also, I'm not sure that
Only one plug.
yellow. I'm gonna do it because we are low on health stuff, and we can access our other health stuff from this one.
Yeah.
And I'll just be more thorough about checking things that aren't regular items.
There's extra stuff in.
Yeah, yeah. Wait,
Oh, it's not connected to the other one? I
That's
thought it
incredible.
was.
that's rude. I also thought it was. This is rude. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
still not.
think it would
I'm
be.
not mad about it, but also, hey.
Wait, what does access do? So access and exit.
Yeah.
Is access... Yeah, you
Yes.
go.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we can keep...
Oh,
Okay,
that's nice
those
too.
are great.
Yeah, that gives
I
me like
didn't realize it would have its own stock. I thought it would just be the stuff that were...
same. That gives us 20 spots to put stuff now, though, as opposed to just 10. Okay, that's actually really great. Okay,
Yeah.
I take it back. This was nice. This is good. Okay, can I... We'll do one of these as our dart storage. Oh, didn't mean to do that. And then sort. Okay, and then... So control room hall is our dart storage. Experiment room hall is going to be regular stuff. I don't have any anaids on me, do I? That is fine. I didn't mean to do that. It's fine. We'll take these. And... recovery aid? It's inventory time.
Yeah. This is how we'll finish off stream.
Basically.
Hope you like inventory.
Good time. No, this is fine though, because we can mix stuff. I do want to check what this is. Increase the potency of items with recovering properties. Okay. Hit triangle. Stop. Oh my god. I literally just... Oh my god. Okay, I remembered to do it this time. We're fine. Intensifier. We already read what that does. Recovery aid. Increases the potency of items with recovering. Okay. Let's grab a med pack.
Sense.
And those are only really worth anything if you combine it with an anaid, right?
When we combined it with an anode, it did make them into medium med packs.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold on to...
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think hemostats on their own are definitely not worth that much.
No, for sure. I guess I was just trying to figure out if I should, like, combine it with the intensifier or the recovery aid, but that's not going to do anything for it. So we'll keep the hemostats for when we find more anaids, which I like that we are just casually calling them anaids now, as if that is their actual name.
That's what it says.
I mean, that is what it says. It's just, it's very funny to me. Mix that with the recovery aid?
That's gonna make 3 large health packs. I'm guessing.
Oh, I did it again.
Did that just do 2 large health packs for the second one?
Yeah, but that was with the intensifier?
With the intensifier, it seemed worse.
Yeah, it makes the recovery better, so I think it would be more than just like an M++ or even like an L+ or whatever.
I don't know what like the difference is, because like an M is a full heal, and an L is full heal and stops bleeding, right?
I have no idea.
I don't know what
Honestly,
it said.
maybe. That's 3 of them. That's 2 of them. We're gonna do the 3. Okay, and then we have a medium med pack, which we can do with the intensifier, so that we have a large one. I think intensifier just makes it so it's a regular one, whereas the
I wish
recovery aid
there were pluses.
and the anaid does pluses.
I don't know what the pluses do, but I don't think there should be pluses. I think it should just...
There shouldn't be. There absolutely should not be pluses.
So just make it harder to stack the items.
Yes. Accurate. Okay, we're gonna put that away. I am gonna take the pluses with, because there's 2 there. But that still leaves us 2 med packs, 2 full healing med packs in our thing, plus the hemostats. And then we've got all of our fucking darts. Which I will take.
We can't put bullets in these, right? I was gonna say like the regular shotgun bullets. We could probably put away, or even the pistol bullets. Like they're not good. Okay, nice.
It does let me put these in here. Okay.
Just stock up on darts instead of bullets, because the.
Yeah. We'll put one thing of slag bullets away. I do want to keep the... I guess we don't really need those, do we?
The handgun just doesn't do it against the enemies.
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna keep anything, I'd keep the slag
Oops.
bullets.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
It's fine, this is inventory time.
It is
We're
inventory
just hanging
time.
out looking at items, just shuffling them around.
Wait, no, I want these. I'm gonna... We'll keep one thing of slag bullets in here. I'm gonna put the grenade bullets away for now.
That's fair.
Because I don't think we're gonna be doing any boss fights anytime soon. Knock on wood.
Yeah, we just had a new type of enemy right after a boss fight. Probably
Yeah.
not gonna see another boss for a minute.
Doesn't seem likely.
Makes sense.
You know what? No, I can keep the grenade bullets on us. That still leaves 4 spots open.
And we do have the green thingy open now, so we can dump stuff in here if we need to.
Yeah.
If we get full of anhids again.
Oof. Okay, but I'm happy with having almost 2 full things of the L+ and darts. Because those take out those big boys in a single hit very quickly. We have 2 resuscitation packs on us, 2 large healing packs, a thing of slag bullets, and half a thing of grenade bullets. And I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Think I'm happy with that.
Where's a mirror server though? So we don't have to do that again.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. We can go back through the vent, and we can save... Oh, I should pick this up. What is this? And Dart Large.
Nice. Even though it won't stack.
Even
It's
though
fine.
it won't stack. And this seems as good a place as any to end it. It's a couple minutes early, but...
Yeah, I think so.
Because we did... Oh, that's a wall. This will
We
give us
are
some
a good
time to...
stopping
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed this. This came off.
Same! Like I said, I was expecting it to be good, but I wasn't expecting it to be this good. This is dope. This is very good. Okay, this is the way we want to go. Get me in here. And I'm glad that you're also enjoying it. I like doing these streams. These are fun. Yes, save.
I'm not even like... I don't know how I felt for you. I don't know if you were frustrated, but like...
No,
I
not
feel like
really.
we kind of like mastered... You know, we could deal with Velociraptors now, so... It just brings in bigger ones that you can't deal with, actually.
No,
I like
absolutely.
it.
Like, I think... Like, early on, I wouldn't even necessarily say I was getting, like, frustrated, because, like, I wasn't. I was still scared.
Yeah.
Like, it was nerve-wracking, and that was cool. Like, especially to have, like, an older game, like, do that to me is neat. I mean, it's not, like, a lasting impact like some of the other horror games that I've done recently. Like, it's no Song of Horror, it's no Village, but it's still, like, it was tense, and it was terrifying walking to a room and knowing that things could be different. Like, having those cutscenes happen every once in a while, even in a space that, like, you've revisited many times, was really cool. This just makes me want them to, like, remake this game. I want them to remake this game, especially now that they have, like, the tech to do the things that they wanted to do.
Yeah, that'd be...
Do it. I would play the fuck out of it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, like, I was getting a little frustrated with the new monster, with the new dinosaurs. But that's just because they hit so hard.
Oh, powerful.
But
you just
knowing...
gotta dive and run.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, knowing that I can't fight them, knowing that I have to run away from them, helps with that. And I do think it's kind of cool. Like, I mean, granted, we have been running away from, like, all of the dinosaurs basically the entire game. But it's like, worst comes to worst, I could have taken on a Velociraptor if I needed to. I don't know that I can take on these boys.
These are a problem.
These are an issue, and it's cool to have that, like, having those enemies that you can fight, and you know you can if you have to, and then having a new enemy that it's like, no, you just have to run away from these. I like the fact that it has that in the same game, because a lot of games tend to do one or the other, which is fine, but it's neat to have that combination. I don't know. This game has been really
I think it's
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I like it. Like I said, like I was expecting to have like a lot of like nostalgia around it. But like being able to like actually experience it and like kind of understand what's happening now. Cause I'm an adult and have a little bit more of an attention span. Not much, but a bit more than I did at 5 years old. It's really cool. I like it. Anyway. You have any other thoughts about it? I realize I'm talking over you a lot.
All like Resident Evil style games are just cool as hell. They were always good. They're still good. If you go back and play them, you probably have a good time if you can get past the graphics.
Right?
Like, I don't know, there's just not been a replacement for them. Like, even the new Resident Evils just kind of do a totally different thing. It's not quite the same vibe. It's not quite the same, I don't know.
It's very good. I wish that more games would do, like, the classic Resident Evil Dino Crisis kind of thing. Because it's fun, and it is, like, I don't know, it's like a staple.
Right, attempts, but it's always like, I don't know, there's like indies paying homage to it, but I don't know like how good those are. But just
I was gonna say,
doesn't
I feel like,
quite have the same.
I feel like a lot of those have the same sort of issue that like Dark Souls clones have. They like tend to pick like not necessarily the worst aspects, but like specific aspects from it that they like and not necessarily incorporate everything else that's in it, which is like incredibly hard to do, but it's like all of those little aspects are what makes it as good as it is. It's I don't know. I don't know.
It's like one guy making it. You can't expect.
No, for sure.
But just don't quite hit all the different little details that make these so wildly good.
Yeah.
Such a fun vibe to be hunted through.
It is kind of cool though, because you can just go back and like revisit the old games and be like, this is still its own thing. It's still like its own unique creation. I don't know. Especially since like specifically with like Dino Crisis, it's held up really fucking well. Aside from the fact that it's like old graphics, I keep forgetting that it's an older game. Because again, like I play so many
the graphics are cool.
No, I love them. Do not misinterpret that. I fucking love them. And I was just about to say, like, I play so many indie games, specifically like the horror indie games that do like go with like the classic PS1 style, that it's like this is fine and normal. Like I forget that this game is 22, 23 years old. It's good. It's a good game. So I'm very excited to play more of it. But that is all we're going to do for now. So it'll have to be until next weekend.
We got basically to end the stream time just by gushing about it after we'd finished. That's how we do it.
It's great. It is the move. I mean, just so often, like, we'll play a game and it's not bad, but it's not, like, worth gushing over all the time. But this is one that I'm just like, I could talk about this all day. I'm gonna repeat the same, like, 5 things over and over again, but it's good, and I like it. I'm very excited to play more of it next weekend, and potentially finish it next weekend.
It looks like we should finish it next weekend until we get really stuck. Unless we get really stuck.
Until we get...
Man, unless. It's fine, don't worry about it.
I'm worried. Alright, let's set up a raid. I think I want to go say hi to Sinnoh Beats, because they're playing the Evil Dead game.
Oh, dang.
And I kind of want to go see that. I watched some of his stream yesterday when he was playing with John Wolfe, and they were playing as survivors essentially. But I think he's playing as a Deadite this time, and so I want to go see that gameplay.
Is this Dead by Daylight, but with the Evil Dead?
Yes and no. It is Dead by Daylight in that it is an asymmetric horror game, but you can play as a team of Deadites, I think. So like it's a bunch of people who are the monsters, and they're coming after you, and you as the survivors fight the Deadites, and it is more like head-on stuff. I think it's more akin to like Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood than it is
Left Dead
DVD.
absolutely slaps.
So that's a thing. And I do kind of want to pick up this game and play it at some point, but it is too much money for me right now, so I have to live vicariously through other people. I have started this raid, and I haven't put up the raid messages. It's fine. There we go. There they are. So yeah, we're gonna go say hi to Sinnoh Beats, because it's Evil Dead, and Sinnoh is a wonderful, a bigger streamer. Definitely a bigger streamer, but they're just very sweet. Anyway, I will be back tomorrow, doing some Song of Horror, and yeah, that's about all I got. It's just gonna be a usual schedule for this next week. Thank you, Fruity, for being here and hanging out while I play Dino Crisis.
I helped on some of the puzzles. I felt like I was playing.
This is kind of why I want to do like a point and click with you at some point, so we can like puzzle through it together.
Why can't I have to make the cat hair mustache?
Alright, well, we're gonna go do a raid now. Thank you everyone for being here and being wonderful and lovely and just perfect. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye!